Here we are back. UFC 319, Chimaev versus Plessis. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus, here with Dre V, Key 3 Picks. We're running it back again. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made on this card. I think this is the best pay-per-view card we have this year, honestly. What do you guys think?
I think it's solid pay-per-view.
Best of the year?
I think so, honestly. I think the card, top to bottom, really good matchup. So really excited to talk about it. And even the tough, I was taping one of the tough fight. I think there's going to be good fights there. And, the guys on the Daniil Contender Series also coming back for this card that we just had this week. Susukaev looked good there. So that's pretty good. Sorry we have no guess. We're supposed to get someone on, but he couldn't make it. So it's going to be just us three for tonight. But big pay-per-view, big money opportunity. So let's get to it.
I think it's a her. I think that's who he's going by. I think he's talking about Saucy Santana. I think it's a her. I think he would probably know better what
this guy was doing.
That's a her, right?
I believe he uses he, him pronouns.
Maybe he does use he, them. Who knows? Looked like a her, though. Main card of the year. That's right, Daz. How's the finger doing, bro? Send us a picture at the show. Let's get a live photo of the finger.
Everybody's live. Yeah, it was live at the same time. I think it's like 138 is. Yeah, is it 138 is live?
Yeah, they're doing like some panel for some bullshit PFL card. I don't even know when the PFL card is.
Danny is live also with Brady.
Okay, that's all right. We'll crew. Oh, it also says Liam pick fights at the top. Let me edit that. I don't know how that happened.
You put that in the title, bro. Come on.
I know. I'm professional. There you go. Oh, didn't do it there. Sorry, guys. This is bad for a screen time. There you go. Save changes. All right, there you go. Fixed it. It's an MMA orgy on YouTube. Oh, hey, Jives, 138, Danny K. Yeah, you guys getting a bunch of good content this week. Let's go into the first fight, though. First fight of the evening is Alibi, Idiris versus Joseph Morales. Joseph Morales, 12-2, 30 years old, from Sacramento. Alibi from Kazakhstan, 10-0, 5'6" versus 5'6". I think this is tough. This is the tough fight or whatever. I'll go first. Pretty straightforward. One guy's from Kazakhstan, one guy's from America. I'm going to choose the guy from Kazakhstan. All right. Geoff, what do you think for this one?
Honestly, there's two cards on the fight that I didn't tape. It's one of them. So
I taped this one hard, so I can go here.
You're hard?
Pause. But I'm going to side with Alibi here. Alibi's solid. I think he's good everywhere. Something that really stuck out to me, not only I watched both tough fights, where he had some fun performance, especially that last one with the flying knee, breaking out of the clinch, throwing a flying knee. But he's a really dynamic guy. Throws a lot of different shots. He'll jump off the cage and do the Showtime kick that Anthony Pettis did. He'll spin. He does a lot of different things. And I really like the guy overall. I think that his pace, even at 125, is surprising to see pace stand out at 125, but it really does stand out. I mean, he's always putting something in somebody's face. And I don't think that it's the most put together game or the most technically sound, but he makes his game work. He does have wrestling in his back pocket. I wish he would wrestle more often, honestly, but he makes his striking work. He shells up really well. I haven't seen him get touched up like super cleanly. And on the Morales side, Morales is a former UFC vet. His tough run was solid. I believe that he lost the last fight against Imanol pretty clearly. Round 2 and 3, I thought that he lost pretty clearly. And you can make some argument, but I think that most people would think that Imanol won that fight. But Morales is somebody who, on the feet, is pretty basic for the most part, but he does have good pop and power whenever he does land, whenever he does actually land cleanly. But overall, I don't really like his game. He's going life and death with 40-year-olds and Cage Warriors, a long layoff and in between fights from regionals on to tough. I think that Alibi's the better striker. I think that he's a better grappler. I will say Morales on the back is a problem for just about anybody. Um, I believe that he's really, really solid on the back. I mean, the way that he fights hands, transitionally, he does a good job of keeping the body triangle. Really good on the back. So I do think that there is risk there, and I can see that there could be some competitive grappling exchanges. But on the feet, I think that Alibi's volume and pace is just going to stand out here. I believe the guy's 30 years old. I wish he was a little bit younger, but I think that he's going to create some fun fights and some fun moments in the flyweight division. I think that he gets it done here. He's a clear pick for me.
I mean, Alibi, and people in Kazakhstan eat horse. You don't fade people who eat horse as a meat, right? Alistair Overeem, Shavkat, all these guys. They all eat. Their favorite food is horse when they do that, like analyzing the fighter. Pretty good analysis.
This is really great analysis. You're really adding a lot to the show. Guys are going to be able to have great bets after that analysis.
I mean, just look it up. If they eat horse, they probably win the fight.
Thank you, Pegasus.
We'll start the tally starting with Alibi and Chop.
How can we repay you for this great analysis?
It's facts. All right, next fight. Let's see here. Next, let's do comments first, right? Be professional. What's happening, Gas Packs? Thanks for joining us, champs. I'm in all.
That's good to hear. He's solid. I think there was some real boxing. I'm pretty sure he's at DC. Just started a fight camp in Gilroy.
Yeah, he did.
And I believe Evenall was in some pictures over there. So I think that he has some potential long term.
I mean, dude, DC's as fat as it could be. That clip of Khamzat throwing him around, he looks nothing shy at 270. So I don't know what he's going to be teaching. I think they'll be on there.
Bob in the chat just asked, can you guys touch on Chimaev and Nolan? That won't be on Tapology right now, but
bro, Chimaev.
Yeah, Chimaev's going to knock him out. Nolan lost to Ty Miller pretty cleanly and was barely made to the bell in that fight. So Chimaev is going to KO him.
Ty Miller obviously butchered my boy. We don't have to talk about it. Alibi is a stud for sure. Eskimo brother, we all Eskimo brothers after tonight. I don't even know what that means. Oh, MMA guy Orgy on YouTube. That makes sense now. All right, next fight here, guys. Yeah, Serkaev KO easy. It's going to be minus 275 probably. I mean, I think Serkaev minus 500, minus 750 is probably value. Parlay it. All right, next fight here. Daniil Donchenko versus Rodrigo Sezinando. Sezinando 8-1. Daniil Donchenko 11-2. Odds on these two gentlemen, no odds given yet. So we're going to play a game called We Make the Odds. Geoff, how do you line this fight?
I think Donchenko should be a favorite personally. I think he's the better prospect of the two. I actually taped this one in deep just before we got to the stream. So yeah, I can talk about it. Yeah, I think Donchenko striking overall is really cool. He's a guy that's, has been training in the striking since he's really young. He went to Thailand. He did some training with Robert Valentine in the striking. You can see the similarity in like the elbows and how nasty they are. And there's some fights on the regional that I've watched compared to his last couple performance. It doesn't look the same. The guy is really improving, and he's only 24, so it does make sense, right? But when you're gonna watch his fights on the regional, and he got a loss in 2023 against a guy that I don't even know how to say his name, Ulu or something like that. That was a 5-round fight that he lost, and then he got a rematch against him last year, and he got a submission there. And he lost another fight back in 2021. It's also a decision. The guy is really tough. I've seen him get hit with a lot of bombs, and he take it pretty well. And in the striking, I like the way he mixes up his target. He goes to the body pretty well. His knees are nasty. His elbows is really good. Like the way he times the elbow when people are trying to pressure him is pretty good. And he just attack all target. Good leg kicks. Like I said, he really goes to the body. And then when he throws his combos on top and he has you backing up against the fence, he really unload. And his last finish was really sick on tough. I just think the guy overall is really solid. He does have a good wrestling game as well. I've seen him get a lot of takedowns on the regional. His takedown defense seems to be fine. He can be taking down, but with what I've seen, he worked back up pretty well. What I'm not too sure about is like his BJJ defense. I'm not too sure about that. And that could be tested here because, Rodrigo, I think he's the better grappler of the two. He's going to try to take him down probably. But the thing I'll say about Rodrigo is like he's on the regional, he lost to grappling before. He's supposed to be like a good grappler, but I don't think he's a bad grappler. Don't get me wrong, but like he lost the fight because of getting taken down over and over again against Lemos. He's a good fighter. He's 12-3, so I don't know him too much, but he was getting taken down, and he kind of got tired in that fight. And on Tough as well, one of his fight went 3 rounds, and he got tired in round 3. It was the fight against I have him there. So he fight the guy Diego Bianchini, who's like a guy from Fighting Nerds. He did pretty well there. He cracked him with some bombs. What I've noticed with his striking, he does have power, but like his swing and the way he strike, I think he's gonna get caught like with a big elbow or something. Like he's open to the body. I've seen him hurt a bit to the body. The last guys he fought on Dynamic on Tough it's Geoff Crankton, right? So that fight went 3 rounds, and he got tired a bit in round 3. It was competitive. He was doing good work early, swing pretty big, but like I said, he's slowing down a bit. And I think his submission is good, but I don't think it's like elite as well. And people are getting up against him. So yeah, I think he has grappling upside. He's more likely to shoot takedowns and get them. But on the feet, like I do think he could potentially crack Donchenko. But I think Donchenko is just a better striker all around. I think he has the better cardio. He went 5 rounds multiple times. And I think his volume is better. I'll say before the Tough, he was not showing as much volume in some fights, and he was getting hit way more. Now he's still getting hit, but the way he counters after getting hit is pretty good. And I think his volume is better. I think his striking overall, especially the body shot, is really good and could be money here, especially because I think this guy Rodrigo is going to slow down, and I think Donchenko is going to go right back up when taking down. So yeah, I think Donchenko here, I think he's the better fighter. I think he's the better prospect. I hope that he's the one winning, because I can see him having a lot of fun fights in the UFC. And yeah, I really like him, honestly. So we'll see what the odds is, what the price is. But I assume it's probably going to be closely lined. I hope so, at least. But I think Donchenko is going to get it done. I think he's live to knock him out in the later round as well.
Yeah, I think Drop broke it down perfectly. I'm going to have to agree with him here. Based on what I saw in Tough, like, I don't know. I'm going based off Tough. I didn't go look into any of the pre-Tough fights. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I don't think either is very good, but Donchenko is, in my opinion, the better fighter. I think he should be favored in this fight. I still have some questions. Donchenko, I think that he's a solid striker, but I think that there's a little bit wrong with his process at times. I'd like to see him go first a little bit more. I think that he's sometimes just waits too much. Yeah, I think that he sometimes just waits a little too much. His power shots. What the fuck is Peg doing?
Kind of pissed. Daz sent me his finger on Twitter. It's upsetting that it's kind of looking normal. I liked it better when I mean, good for you, obviously, but it was more entertaining when it was all mangled and stuff. I'm glad to see you're doing better, bro.
Shout out Daz. But Donchenko, it's just big hooks. I'd like to see him throw a lot more straight shots. I don't tend to love just entering the pocket with a bunch of big hooks. I think they'll pay for it whenever you fight somebody with a higher level. And there's not really a lot of head movement. It's just a good shell, and he does a good job of staying safe. But again, I just wish – I think that he could be a better striker than what he is. His boxing is solid in the pocket. He's tough, and he fights hard. Looking into his regional tape, the loss versus the Ulu guy isn't a bad loss, like a super bad loss. I know that his record looks bad, but that guy is solid. And so
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that guy's solid. I don't think that that's an awful loss. But there are some question marks. He did get taken down at the end of rounds in that fight, rounds 1 and 2, I believe, in the first one. And so we didn't get a chance to see what it looked like transitionally because the rounds ended. But all signs pointed to him settling on his back, which is a bad look to me. And if Rodrigo does get him down, I think that Rodrigo could sit at half guard and win a round off of that. I don't think that Rodrigo is like takedown and the fight's over. I haven't seen that personally. I don't rate his grappling that high, but he is the much better grappler in this fight, and that's not debatable. On the feet, Rodrigo's reckless. He just throws bombs. I think that he's an idiot, being completely honest. Um, I just don't rate him on the feet at all. He throws hard, and that's really about it. He gets tired fast. I shouldn't say fast because he tries to fight through it. It's not like he just quits on himself, but it's just the low IQ decisions leads to him gassing. I think Donchenko has a better process, better boxer. I think that as long as he can stuff a takedown and has any get up game, I think that this is his fight to win. But again, we haven't seen it, so there's a lot of unknowns in this fight. I hope that it gets tested so we can get more answers. I don't think that either is going to be sniffing top 15 in the UFC ever in their career, but Donchenko could produce a couple bangers in the UFC. So I hope he wins. I think he should be favored here. He's the pick for me.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna move on from these cans. Daz, glad you got a laugh out of that. Yep. As everyone has a great night except for Chris Ewart. I totally agree. He showed up fat, sloppy. It was a mistake there. We'll go over all these fights. What's happening, Drizzy? His backstory was he was a fish tank owner. Yeah, we'll lose good. That's pretty much it. All right, so let's get into these real fights here. Now the real card starts here. We have Karine Silva versus Dione Barbosa. Barbosa's 8-3. Karine Silva's 18-5. Silva's coming off a loss. Barbosa's coming off a win. Two ladies from Brazil. Odds on them, you can get Karine Silva minus 205. Dione Barbosa plus 175. This is actually a high-level girls fight, Key. So I'm going to have you go first. We're going to do our things we usually do.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think that this is like a super high-level girls fight. I think this is kind of mid-tier. But this is a weird one because people that I respect in this space and
they both got mango feet. Nobody wins that one, but continue.
God bless. But people that I respect in this space, not including Peg, but some of the other sharks that I know, were in and talking to me about Karine.
That's me.
And so going into tape, I was like expecting to see that this is like potentially going to be a blowout, and I just don't see it. Karine, I don't think that the Araujo loss was as bad as everybody made it out to be. Round 2 was questionable, and you can make that argument. Round 3, her body language was awful, and she just did not have that dog in her at all. But round 2, you can make arguments that she won that round and could easily still be on a streak right now, and people wouldn't be talking about her the way that they are. But I think that all the questions and the reasons why I've disliked Karine still hold true. She throws really hard, and she's physical. Outside of that, I just don't know what else she does. A big right hand and some front kicks and a sub game. And I get it. On the women's side, that's enough to project you to a top 15 spot. But I just don't think that she's that good of a fighter. I did find the tape from Barbosa and Silva's first fight. That is an interesting thing. They fought in 2019. And in that fight, Barbosa just out-grappled her. They spent time in a 50-50 leg lock position for a couple minutes at a time. Barbosa's the one who dropped down for the leg lock, even though she was on top. And just poor decision-making there. But she clearly won the fight. She out-grappled Silva. Silva had a blast double at the end of round 1 that I think could come into play here. But I think whoever ends up on top wins this fight pretty plain and clear. Back then, Karine was a little fat, probably wasn't on the supplements, did not look as good as she does now from an athletic standpoint. So I do think that she has gotten much better since then. I shouldn't say much better, but she's gotten more comfortable in her career since then. But I think on the feet, Barbosa is going to stick out that jab, and I do think her jab can be money in this fight. But Karine is going to come over the top with that big right hand, and I think that she has upside to knock down Barbosa here or hurt her with that right hand. Barbosa's striking defense can be a little sus at times, so I think that Silva's very live to hurt her early. But outside of that, I think this does just come down to whoever ends up on top in some tricky and sticky grappling scenarios. And Barbosa's strong too. She matches some of the physicality that Karine has. In terms of subs and finishing upside on the mat, I think it's kind of a wash. Silva was shooting up some triangles and trying to do some stuff off of her back, but I don't think that that's going to get anywhere with somebody that does have a good top game like Barbosa. I also think that Barbosa's bad off of her back. So I think that Silva could easily end up on top and just win around like that because I don't rate Barbosa off of her back. So again, it's kind of a toss-up fight for me. At these odds, it's clear dog or pass. I don't really understand. Maybe I'm missing it. I think this is a little bit of narrative based on where this line went and not matchup based. Because yes, all the outside stuff points to Karine. She's younger. She's had a better UFC career to this point. She's been on a streak and had success in the UFC, finishing girls. So I think that all of the outside stuff points to Karine, and I understand the upside in that pick. But I think that this is a close fight, and probably I can understand Karine minus 150 at highest, minus 125. That range makes sense to me. But I don't understand minus 200. I don't. And so Peg, I know parlayed that shit, of course. But I think that here this is a close fight. If Barbosa wasn't taking this on short notice, I would probably be on a Barbosa bet at these odds. But her cardio is also sus. But she fights hard. Karine, bad body language, doesn't have that dog in her. But she'll do well early. So there's a toss-up fight. I pick Karine. But I think this is a close fight, and I would not be backing minus 200 Karine's tickets here, and especially given the fact that Barbosa won that first fight in a very weird and sort of an outcome, in my opinion, that plays out pretty consistently if they were to fight out 10 times.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why you're minus 200 safe. Have no fear. Uncle Peg is here. Karine Silva, this is a buy low spot for her, all right? Dione Barbosa is coming in on late notice. I mean, he said minus 150. Good. Key, how do you feel about 170 on Karine Silva?
I guess, but it's just like at minus 170, I'm looking for somebody that I think is going to dominate the fight. I don't know how people think she's going to dominate the fight here.
Well, I think if someone gets hurt, it's going to be Barbosa. If someone gets a knockdown, it's going to be Silva. If someone gets the early takedown, it's probably gonna be Silva.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Barbosa had her up in the clinch against the cage and in their first fight and easily got to some trip takedowns. So I think it is like Karine could blast double her, and Karine's at fighting nurse, so that's a good thing to add. I have to assume that she's, still on the acai and still making some improvements.
And
so those are all plus signs. But
I just the nerds. I think Barbosa could get knocked down. I think both these girls kind of have sus gas tanks, to be honest. Sorry. Key, they're asking where you saw the fight. Key is the best guy at finding little girls fighting the game. He sent us the link like before of where he found the fight of these two rematches, and it has 140 views on YouTube. So that shows how not worth it is to watch it. Just play the chalk, bet Karine Silva, get the win. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna look free. You're gonna be happy about it. There's a reason that this fight is the way that it is. Drav, give your breakdown.
Hey, yeah, I don't know what to think about your breakdown, bro. I'm gonna be honest, but yeah, I know people really respect Key's opinion about women's MMA, especially, and Key is the biggest Karine Silva hater out there, so he doesn't like her. He's never really liked her, so he's not gonna like her now. It's obvious, but I'll say honestly, watching back that Araujo fight, I scored a fight for her, and if you go on MMA Media, basically, it was kind of split. People scored for her. People scored the fight for Araujo. Personally, I gave her round 1 and round 2. She hurt Araujo in that fight. She was on top for some portion of it. And I think this fight is an easier matchup than Araujo, personally. Yeah, and Barboza, like you guys said, I mean, she's taking the fight on 2 weeks' notice. Silva's on a full camp at Fighting Nerds. She took some months off after her last loss, so we can expect some improvement maybe with the new camp, elite preparation. And, I'm watching Barboza on the regional, and I'm seeing her. I know it was back in the day, but she was running away, getting hurt by Mini Josiane Nunes, right? She got hurt, and then she almost got guillotined against Mini Nunes, who doesn't know what BJJ is. And she kind of quit in that fight. To me, it was a bad look. She doesn't like the pressure. She didn't handle the power at all. And now after that, right, when you look at it, she fought Bishop, right? Bishop, really good BJJ girl. She's 1-0 at the time, right? Bishop sit that girl on her ass. She's a BJJ girl. She's not a striker. She sit her on her ass, a clean knockdown. I didn't peg mute yourself. There's some eco. So I didn't like to see that. So I think she's maybe a bit chinny, honestly, because after that fight, she never fought someone that, with power since Nunes, basically. Like, Ernesto is a good striker, but she's a volume girl. She's not really a striker. She's not really a power threat. Maverick either, Belbita either. So, yeah, now she's fighting a girl in Silva who has you can say what you want about her striking. She has real pop for women's MMA. And her right hand is really good. The way she threw that right hand, she knocked girl down with it. She can knock her out with it. And watching back that Belbita fight, it's actually what made me confident. Belbita has no power. She's retired since that fight, right? Barboza was a -1,000 favorite. She won that fight. She made it look easy, don't get me wrong. But in the striking, what happened? Belbita was landing that overhand right over and over again. Clip her on the chin like 3 or 4 times. Even the commentary said like, oh, she's getting clipped with that right hand again and again. She doesn't have an answer for it. Silva hit maybe 5 times harder than Belbita. So if she clip her with that right hand, and I'm sure the Fighting Nerd's going to spot that on tapes, she's going to drop her. And when she drop her, what's going to happen? She's going to jump on her, win the minute on top, or maybe submit her, or maybe knock her out. I don't really know. But to me, I think she has more finishing upside. I think I do agree with Keita, like, wrestling standpoint, it's kind of close, and like they can both lose minute off their back. But I think Silva is the more dangerous girl with the BJJ, and they're more likely to actually end the fight. And on the feet, I think it could be close, but I think Silva has the big moments upside, and she's more likely to hurt Barboza. And then you have the fact that she's on the full camp, and they both have shaky cardio, by the way. Normally, if I bet against Silva, I kind of want a girl with really good cardio, with a good chin, and really good grappling, right? And that can push her in round 3. But, in round 3, Barboza is slowing down herself. Horrible look against Ernesto. I remember Key at the point thought that Ernesto won that fight. I don't know if you still think she did. I kind of think it was really arguably like
Ernesto won that fight.
You can give that fight to her, and round 3 in that fight was not a good look for Barboza. So, and now she's on 2 weeks' notice. So who's going to look better in round 3? I kind of think it's maybe going to be Silva, and she has more experience at this level, more experience in MMA in general. She's younger. So yeah, I think the price is fine, honestly. I don't think there's many value at what is now it's minus 205. But yeah, I think the price is where it should be, honestly. It should be close to minus 2xx. So yeah, I think she's live to finish her. I think the under 2.5 is kind of tempting as well, because normally Silva, she's finishing fight. She has a lot of finishes. She won the distance against Lipsky and her last fight, and now they're pricing her over like she's not a good finisher. But yeah, we'll see.
All right, Dione, Jessica Andrade has the best feet, 4.6 out of 5. We'll have to see. She's on here somewhere, I think. Female Brito. Yep, Uncle Peg's always got your back. Don't worry. I'll show you where the chalk is.
Yeah, real quick, the dude in the chat, Drizzy Goat or whatever, I don't see him often in here, but my man, we aren't gonna just like blow through fights that actually like can have betting angles. If it's a blowout fight and it's easy to cap, yeah, we'll go through it. But like, there's compelling matchups even in the prelims. If you want to just see the main card, wait for this shit to be over and then go back through.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you're not gonna rush us through our breakdowns. We give real breakdowns on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people come here. And you know what? Honestly, at the end, I do timestamps anyway. So there's specific fights you want, just let this play through. We'll be done by 10. You can watch it tomorrow, whatever you want to do. But let's move on. Like, comment, and subscribe, by the way. Make sure you're subscribed, even before you leave. All right. Nursulton Ruziboev versus Bryan the Butcher battle. Bryan battle 12-2. Nursulton Ruziboev 36-9-2. Line on these two gentlemen, you can get battle -170, Ruziboev +145.
What do you think about it, Peg? They put key favorite fighter back to back. Karine, Silva, and Ruziboev.
I know. I know. And you know what? I want to hear Key go first. I mean, I've been on Nursulton the whole ride up. Key's wanted to see me fail the whole ride up. Does Nursulton pull it off again? Or does Bryan battle find the win here? There is a catch. This is at 185. This isn't at 170. It's not the 170 Butcher. It's the 185 Butcher. And this is Nursulton at 185. What do you think, Key?
I know this is going to surprise some people, but if I have to bet this fight, gun to back of my head, I would probably put in a Ruziboev money line ticket. This is the very first time and probably the last time I've ever seen this.
Ben is so surprised. Look at his face.
Yeah, I have to say at these odds, I want it to get to a battle bet, of course, because I would want to get to, if my grandma was fighting Ruziboev, I would want to get to a bet on my grandma. But Ruziboev, I can't lie, he has power. I think that this run through the UFC is goofy as hell. And I don't think that we still have answers to some of the questions that I would like to get answers to. But the guy has gotten better, and that right hand and his length is a problem. Like, you can't, there's no other way to put it. It really is a problem. And I think that Battle's going to have a tough time getting in range. If you're having a tough time getting in range against Randy Brown, I get it. Randy Brown has a great jab and fights really long, but Ruziboev can snipe that right hand from just about anywhere. So I think that Battle's going to have a hard time entering the pocket. I don't think that Battle's going to sit here and just wrestle for 15 minutes. I don't think that that's the path either. Maybe he can eke out some rounds by holding against the clinch and getting some dirty boxing and trying to wrestle a little bit. But I don't think 15 minutes of wrestling is going to happen. Buckley is athletic as hell and has very dynamic wrestling, and it had a little bit of tough times at moments with Ruziboev. So I'm not gonna, and I'm somebody that had a Buckley ticket in that fight. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like Ruziboev is just dog shit and he's awful and blah blah blah. The guy's made a lot of people eat their words, me included. I think that he's decent at this level. Battle's a weird matchup for him. I think that Ruziboev can snipe the right hand. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ruziboev hurt Battle. I will say Battle coming back up to 185 does help his durability. His chin is going to be better. He's not, apparently that weight cut was absolute hell for him. And I want justice for my Randy Brown. I think all three of us were on Randy Brown in that fight. And I want justice for that ticket. But Battle coming up back to 185 is good looks for him. There's a weird buzz, but slight lean Battle from a prediction standpoint, but dog or pass from a betting line standpoint.
Key or Job, what do you think? What do you think here? Or do you want me to go first?
I can go. It's actually a fight where I don't think I have the best read on personally. I'm also the kind of same in the sense that I was going into tapes trying to bet Battle, and I ended up after tapes and being like, yeah, if I bet Battle here at -160, I'm probably forcing it a bit. I don't think there's value. I don't think there's much value. I think it's probably going to be a close fight, honestly, because when you look at Battle, normally early in fights he's pretty hittable, and even late in fights he's pretty hittable, and he can get hurt. We've seen it in his UFC run thus far. I'll say like maybe at 185 it's going to be better, but at the same time he's fighting a guy who's more dangerous up at 185 pounds. So, and he's hittable. It's just the way it is. He take damage and he pressure you, and he make you pay and he breaks you. But I don't really want to pay a chalk for that, But I do think he has more tools to win this fight. I do think that has the better cardio. I think he has more volume, and I think that he's the more likely of the two to have top time upside. But then I was looking into his wrestling, and I don't think his wrestling offense is all that good. I think he has like a 17% takedown accuracy, and I don't know, man. I don't think his wrestling is all that good. I don't rate Ruziboev takedown defense, and I think he can lose minutes off his back, but it's clear that he's improving. I'll say it's clear that he's getting better, and he has power in his right hand. He doesn't have much. Like, he has an uppercut and a straight right hand down the pipe, but he can crack with that shot, and Battle's probably going to be worried about it. Like, if I'm watching Kevin Jousset just, landing that right hand over and over again and clipping you a bit, like, I don't know, man. Ruziboev can hurt you and put you down. So, but yeah, I think as the fight goes on in round 2 and 3, I don't think Ruziboev is going to like Bryan Battle pressure and volume. And, I think that Battle has more ways to win this fight if he can get on top. And, I trust him more in round 3. I trust him more over 15 minutes. But I think Ruziboev is live to land a kill shot early. And I think that his cardio is not as bad as what I thought when he first got into the UFC. Didn't look too tired the last time out, even against Buckley. Like, he got tired at the end of round 3. The fight against Buckley was also at 170 pound, by the way. And I also don't have a good read about what I think about Battle at 185 compared to 170, because like, he was on a run at 170 pound. I've listened to his interview, and basically said that the UFC didn't really give him much fight at 170, even though he was probably one fight away from a ranking. And you said what I'm saying, 15 times in his interview. I was getting bored, I can't lie. But the guy is going back down to 185, basically missed weight multiple times at 170. And the UFC said, you want to fight? It's going to be at 185 now. And it's kind of make him lose his momentum. And his last performance against Randy Brown was not a good one. Arguably lost that fight. So he kind of lost his hype a bit after that Jousset performance to me. And even the Jousset fight, it was a good performance, don't get me wrong, but it was close early on. Like, he was getting tagged up early on. And, but if he come out there with the right game plan, push the pace, make Ruziboev tired, he could break him. And, but I think he's going to win. I still think he's a better fighter, but I don't think I'm going to be able to bet minus 160. The line is dropping, so we'll see. Maybe the line ends up closing to like minus 125, minus 150, and then maybe I'll be interested. But even then, I don't really like it personally. I think that he's going to win, but I don't really want to lay chalk on him. Peg, is the chalk is worth it?
No, it's not. And I went into tape thinking I was going to be on a Bryan Battle side. Going into tape, I was like, this is an easy Bryan Battle spot. I'm going to be all over this. I'm going to lay 2 units at, minus 170, and it's going to be an easy bet. I watched the last fight against Randy Brown. I watched Bryan Battle get tagged up. I was on Randy Brown plus 3.5 there. That cash plus 105. Again, we go back. We watch the
That was plus 105 in that spot.
Yes, sir.
That's a steal.
So I was on Randy Brown plus 3.5. The fight before that I went back was Jousset. I was all over Jousset, and it was me, Dravi, head to head, American versus Frenchie, and we know how that goes. You don't choose him in a fist fight, right? That being said,
by the way, horrible look last night for French fighters in the main event. I don't know what that guy was doing, but man, I was thinking about you because, he didn't want to be in here. Let's be honest. After what happened in round 1. But that Brazilian was a crazy madman with pressure on tapes, but he ended up doing nothing and pointing at him. That was crazy, this Santana guy.
Also, he was hurt. He was hurt before the headbutt. Like, even when he fell hurt, he was hurt. He was hurt.
I think he wanted out, but yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. But like I said, I think Nursulton is going to look better and better. The Stu Fultz fight, he didn't get Stu Fultz out early, but that Stu Fultz fight, Stu Fultz made him actually fight, made him dig deep, made him go 15 minutes. And I think that he actually held up there. So did Buckley. Buckley's a better wrestler. I think Nursulton being at Marquez MMA with Brady, with Pfeiffer, all those guys, I think he's getting better. He's getting more process to his game. He hits hard. Bryan Battle's hittable. I don't like Bryan Battle at 185. Bryan Battle at 185 isn't Bryan Battle at 170. I think debatably it's probably going to be worse. So I'm going to keep betting on my guy Nursulton at plus odds. Until they make him a favorite. That's when we fade him. But they're going to keep giving us plus odds on him. Happily take it.
Peg, you are betting him at chalk. You forgot. He was chalk in his last 2 fights, I think.
All right, so maybe I bet him at chalk too, but I bet him every way, all the way to the top. But that's my point. We're getting plus odds.
4 fights.
Yeah, we're getting him at plus odds. I'm going to see what the spread is. I didn't check the spread on Bet Online. I was kind of waiting for it to come out on DraftKings.
I'm going to tell you what it is.
It's probably not going to be crazy just because he's plus 145, but that's the way I think that goes. I think
it's actually minus 125, Peg. It's not
yeah,
bad.
So I'm going to be on that because I don't see Bryan Battle finishing Ruziboev at all. And there you go, just like that. You just found spread of the week. Can Battle get takedowns? Yes, I think Battle can get takedowns.
I'm not sure, honestly. Like, his wrestling offense is not really good. That's the thing. Like, he's not really taking a lot of people down. And sometimes when he does, he's kind of reversing people that are trying to take him down. So, and Ruziboev is a big dude. So I'm not too sure about that, honestly.
Yeah. So that's how it's going to be an interesting fight. Def has a Ruziboev ticket. I don't know if I would have to believe it to see it.
I don't have a Ruziboev
ticket. I would have to believe it to see it. What's happening, Glenbot? Thanks for joining us, bro. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We'll just move on right to the next one. Yeah, Santana is an all-time idiot. That should have been a draw, though. That shouldn't have been a loss for him. Honestly, I wouldn't even care if they ran that fight.
Right. One judge had it 30-26, I think.
Yeah, 30-26. Even Dana said, I don't even know where you get that scorecard from. But
Dana was killing these guys at the end. I was waiting for it, like one after the other.
Under next week are going to be crazy.
Unders
are going to be crazy. All right, talking about unders. Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose.
You leave the comment on bottom. I don't want to hear that name anymore, Santana guy.
Yeah, who knows? He'll probably be back, honestly. Drakkar Klose, 15-3-1. Edson Barboza, 24-12. Odds in these gentlemen, you can get Barboza minus 140, Drakkar Klose plus 120. Drav, I'm going to have you go first. I'll be honest, this is a fight I'm not even interested in. I don't want to bet it. I don't want to touch it. I was looking for a spread of the week here, but it's just so gross to look at. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think Barboza should win. Like, I think he should, but I'm not willing to. I don't think I'm willing to lay chalk on him at this point in his career. He's 39 years old, took a shit ton of damage, going back to lightweight. He's the better striker, and he's more dangerous in this matchup. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, Klose, you got beat up against Joel Alvarez. I don't hold that against him too much. I do think that he's the more likely of the two to grapple, if anyone is. And I think that on minute, he could potentially make it close on the feet, but he's also older himself. He's 37. And he took some damage as well. But, the only thing I'll say is, like, if you look at it, the fight is minus 150 to go the distance. So it's like they favor the fight to go the distance. And Klose is 9-1 to the decision. So normally when fight gets the distance, he's pretty good at it. So just something to know, because, like, Barboza is 9-6. So, yeah, I don't know. Barboza took a beating against Lerone Murphy in his last fight, and now he's moving up a weight class. And also, it's more than a year it's a year and 2 months ago we last saw him. But yeah, I think prime for prime, he's winning this easily, but it's like all wash he is at this point. I don't think like he's completely cooked and washed, but also he's clearly declining, especially his durability. Maybe you can argue it's going to be better at 155, which I tend to agree, because like he's super jack and making 145 is probably not easy for him. But yeah, I think he should win. He's the better striker. He's more dangerous, but I don't have a ton of interest at the current lines.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really have much interest here. I think it's Barboza or pass for me personally. Something about him going up in weight at an older age, I kind of tend to like in this sense. I think Barboza's process is a little better than Klose. I don't really trust Klose. Klose is definitely a minute winner and decision winner, kind of like Drav said. But something about Barboza, I'm going to be interested to see how he looks. He always looks juiced up and ready to go every fight. I feel like later on in his career where he is now, like he's only 2 years older than Klaus, right? So fight years, he's way older. But I don't know. I don't mind the Barboza angle here. I think it's Barboza money line for me. What do you think, Key?
Yeah, clear dogger pass for me. I think the margins are thin. Kind of on both sides, weirdly. But Barboza, like, is weird because I don't think that he's as, like, this is hard to put into words, but I don't think that he's like as good of a striker as everybody's made him out to be. He's just really fucking explosive. I think that he has gotten away with like just being a freak athlete more than anything, because like defensively, I don't rate him that highly. his octagon cage control while striking isn't that good. It's not like he's going to put combinations together and flow through them. Everything, it feels like premeditated. And at this stage of his career, I think it's good that he's coming back up to 155. But I mean, his last two, I mean, Lerone, I don't know how the fuck Lerone didn't finish him one. And Lerone low-key got flash KO'd in that fight by an up kick, which was hilarious. But I don't think that those two fights were great for him. Sadiq, it took everything in him to battle back and get that win. And Lerone just took his soul completely. And I think that that's the last bit of Edson that we're going to see at even a somewhat high level. And I remember even back fighting Billy Q, I had an Edson ticket at plus 144, I believe. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm glad he caught him with that knee, because I was feeling like body language wise, Billy Q's going to end up melting this fucker. And I don't think that Klose has any of the boxing needed to just melt Barbosa, but I do think that he can make it an ugly, nasty fight. I think he can clinch and get him up against the cage. And Barbosa is low-key allergic to a pace. And so I think, and I get it, some of the outcomes look different, but once you start looking at the body language of some of these fights, it's awful. Like, it just is. If he's not getting his way and he's not landing huge shots, I mean, it looks bad. And so Klose is, I mean, yes, he got chinned by Alvarez. I think most people are getting chinned by Alvarez at this point. Alvarez looked really great. But I think that Klose has wrestling upside here. And I think that he has cage pushing upside. I think that he can make this an ugly, grimy type of fight where there's a lot of nasty grappling and dirty boxing involved. But if he stays at range, Barbosa's dangerous. The spinning wheel kicks are still alive. He hurt Sadiq badly with it. And the body kicks are still great. So if Klose acts like a dumbass and decides to stand out at range, then yeah, I think Barbosa gets it done. But I think the Klose is going to make it a nasty, ugly fight. He said in an interview that it's no secret what his game plan is, and that's to wrestle here. And so I think Barbosa can potentially stop the first few shots, and that's completely fine. But if Klose stays on it, I think the Klose can win a nasty, grimy decision. Finishing upside goes to Barbosa. I can understand why he's the favorite. I'm not saying that this line is super off or anything, but I think the Klose can win a nasty 29-28 decision that probably gets some boos from the crowd, because I don't think that he's going to stay at range very much. But I can see him grinding this out. This is a weird sort of unk fight with 39 and 37. Nasty work. Might as well throw Peg in and make this a WWE match at this point. But I'll pick Barbosa, but I would not be surprised to see Klose eke out a decision here.
Looks like kind of looks just like an afternoon at cookout on like a Saturday. That's kind of what it looks like. What we got going on here. It's gonna be wild down in Memphis or something like that, or Brazil, whatever you want to call it. All right, next fight: Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Hooper. Chase the Dream Hooper, 16-3-1 at 155. The new GOAT. Alexander Hernandez, 16-8. On these two gentlemen, you can get Chase Hooper minus 300. You can get Alexander Hernandez plus 262. I'll go first here just because it's going to be interesting. I like Chase Hooper. I parlay Chase Hooper with Karine Silva. That's Peg's chalky parlay of the week. I did think about the spread for Alex Hernandez early on, but here's the thing. Alex Hernandez makes way too many mistakes on the ground and getting back up from the ground if he's grappled for me to take Chase Hooper. I think early on, if it goes down to the mat, Alex Hernandez gives up his back to stand up. If that's the case, he's going to get rear naked choked. It's going to look pretty straightforward. Chase Hooper's a different guy at 155. He's looking better and better each fight. If you look at this, if you look at both these guys' past few fights, right, it's looked like they both took an Uber together, went to the old age home, and just started beating the shit out of old people. That's what it looks like, because that's all they've been doing, right? You look at Alex Hernandez, Kurt Holloway, Austin Hubbard, he's a younger guy. Damon Jackson, lost. Billy Algeo, lost. Jim Miller, old. Clay Guida, old. Vyacheslav Borchev, Jordan Levitt, okay, zesty. And then Nick Fiore, horrible. Best fight out of both these guys, all the names I just said, was Vyacheslav Borchev, and that's on the Hooper side. I just think these guys are both fighting old men, and this is going to be the first time we actually see this is going to be the first time we actually see these guys fight people who are their age, their physicality, their athleticism. Like, this is where we're going to see it. So it's a little scary playing chalk here, but like I said, I like to just pick winners. I think Chase Hooper wins this fight. Chase by sub is live. If there is a KO, it could be Hernandez, because Chase Hooper at times does not move his head off the center line, which is a concern. Seen it time and time again that he gets hit and he's kind of hittable. But like I said, Chase Hooper money line, I'll take that. Chase by sub is fine for me as well. Like, I could just see as Alex Hernandez gets more tired, Chase Hooper kind of puts it together. So that's what I think. Key, what are you thinking here?
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying, one, I pick-wise, prediction-wise, I pick Hooper. But let me ask you, Peg, out of, let's see, Jim Miller, Clay Guida, Slava Claus, Levitt, and Fiore, do any of those guys come close to like the same athleticism and explosion as Hernandez?
No.
So that raises pause for me, because it's cool to be -5, -300, and minus big price tags against old men. But we haven't seen this guy face anybody athletic and with any real explosion since Steve Garcia. And that, we know that fight was, I mean, everybody was acting like Hooper was the worst in the world. But now all of a sudden he's -300 against a guy that is not bad, to me, in my opinion. So I think that that's reason enough to not be parlaying Hooper all willy-nilly here. I get it. The grappling is fun and cool. But the guy still is just, he's not fast. I see Dream, Elijah Wan Dream in the chat saying Hooper shoots a basketball like he's throwing a shot put, LL. And that, if you saw the Barca clip, he did. And
yeah.
But I think that here, I mean, he's just so unathletic. And I get it. People are saying like, oh, he's gotten better on the feet. But like, anybody can throw kicks and stay long against old men. Like, the one time he ran, like, bumped Slava Claus on accident, pretty much. And that's the only moment that anybody can point to of like anything good on the feet. He stayed behind some kicks and stayed safe against old men. Like, what am I supposed to take away from that? Like, he doesn't seem, he's still backing up in straight lines. Some of the same things that got him in trouble versus Steve Garcia. And I think that he's going to have a somewhat of a hard time finding Hernandez on the feet. Hernandez has tricky footwork. He laterally, we know he can move really well. I think it's important to say that, the cardio concerns are reasonable, but this is a guy who defended 12 takedowns against Austin Hubbard at altitude, and was able to cleanly defend those. So great balance, good athlete. So this is clear dog or pass, but then it comes down to, do you trust Hernandez? And I get it. Hernandez gives up his back while getting up pretty consistently. And I do think that that is problematic in this matchup. But one takedown isn't the fight around in this fight. Clay Guida's getting up against Chase Hooper. Jim Miller's getting up when fresh against Chase Hooper. And Chase is really crafty, and I think that his grappling is really, really fun to watch. But I think that there are times where he gets a little overzealous. He's fallen off of the back a couple times. He's went for some submissions instead of just staying positionally sound. So I think that he's young in his career still, and he still shows it. He still makes some young guy type of decisions on the mat. So I do think that Chase is the much, much better grappler technically here. But I can see Hernandez' athleticism giving him some issues. I can see it, one, on the feet. Hernandez is obviously the better striker. So I think that checks one box. But grappling-wise and scrambles, like, Hooper gets away with a lot because he's super long. But guys are beating him to some spots and just out-hustling him just because they're more athletic and they're more explosive. So I think that that's something that could end up here. But I pick Hooper. I expect for him. I think that he can weigh on Hernandez late in rounds 2 and rounds 3. But I haven't seen Hooper deal with being hurt on the feet since the Garcia fight. I haven't seen him deal with athleticism and explosion since the Garcia fight. That shit is so lame, by the way. That Hooper's whole little gooning bit. I find that like to be one of the corniest things ever.
He's corny as fuck, bro. We all know that.
But we haven't seen him deal with athleticism and explosion. We haven't seen him deal with anybody with this type of footwork. So due to me not seeing any of those things and him just running through some old men and Nick Fiore, I just don't have the answers I need to want to parlay him at minus 300 against a guy like this. So for that reason, I think it has to be dog or pass at these odds. I would line this a little closer. It kind of is just weird that everybody's all hyped up about Hooper because he has some cool grappling exchanges against old men.
What are you thinking, Drop?
Yeah, it's an interesting fight, honestly. Like you can honestly make a case for both sides. I think there's betting angle on both sides, depending on the one you prefer. But yeah, I mean the line is wide. Like I'm not gonna deny that. I think Hooper has making improvement recently. I think his striking got a bit better, even though it was against older guy. I think that his process is a bit better. I think he trusts himself a bit more. And obviously, moving up at 155 was a good decision. You can see in his body, he looked great. And his cardio is obviously good.
Real quick, Drop, before you finish off your breakdown, I saw somebody in the comments say Champ said there's a world where Hernandez lays on top of Hooper. I think that's very realistic. Steven Peterson was able to do so and stay safe in Hooper's guard. It's not like Hooper is just the most dangerous guy in the world. But continue, Drop.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Hernandez took down OAM and, he was having success on top. Like, he's a good grappler offensively. And defensively, I don't think he's as bad as what people are saying. Like, I've seen him scramble and do well. It's just that he can get tired and he can get broken. That's how he loses. But I don't know. I don't think Hooper is like a machine like the market is saying in his last couple fights. He had really good matchup.
That's Khabib.
No, he's not Khabib. I can't tell you that. I don't think his wrestling is that good, honestly. His wrestling is getting better, but also it's matchup. Like Clay Guida, Jim Miller, like they don't have really good takedown defense, and they have Jim Miller has bad cardio. Borshev, really bad takedown defense, no ground game. So I think Hernandez has good takedown defense, better than those guys, and he's more athletic as well. It's like Austin Auber went 0 for 12 on takedowns, and he had some really good attempts, and Hernandez did a lot of the right things that fighting the hands, pushing down the heads, and he almost had his back one time, but he was able to escape. And I think that he was kind of not finding himself as of late. Like, to 145 pounds was not a good idea. Obviously, you can see that he's better at 155. You can see that now he has like a good team around him with Brennan Weval and these guys. He kind of trusts these guys now, and he feel good at this weight class, obviously. And I mean, the striking difference is kind of big here, and I don't think people realize, but Hernandez is really the much better striker, and I think his footwork is going to cause some issues to Hooper, especially early on, because it's the big cage, which normally favor the striker, and Hernandez switched stances, and he has tricky striking, and his leg kicks are really good, and Hooper, doesn't react well to leg kicks. And when Hooper crashed the distance and trying to pressure, that's where he can get hurt in the pocket. And Hernandez is really good at that, and he's really powerful. So I think that Hernandez is going to win big moments on the feet. I think he's going to outstrike Chase Hooper, and I think he can defend most of the takedowns. The thing and the problem is, he can gas out. Hooper can break him late, and if Hooper get on top, he could pound him out or get the rear naked choke, get the back. That's the downside, obviously. But Hernandez did well against. He did well against Moicano in the grappling early on in round one. He defended the back and all of that, so that was good. And I think that he fought better wrestlers than Chase Hooper before. And I also think his cardio looked better recently than in his last couple of fights at 145. The Austin Auber fight, it was a short notice for Hernandez, and he was up at high elevation in Salt Lake City, right? And he looked great. He didn't gas out. He pushed through it, and he faced 12 takedown attempts. And, he got kind of, and he's right in round one, his nose started to bleed because he got hit with a big shot. And I don't know. He looked great to me in that fight. And I think that he's only 32 and people are talking like he's done. And I think that he looked good and he found himself recently. But yeah, it's hard to bet against Chase Hooper. Like, he's a much better grappler and he has better cardio and he could get on top and maul him. I'm not sure how likely is that he get on top and make it look easy. I think he's going to have a hard time. And I think Hernandez on the feet is probably going to make him look silly. So, yeah, to me, Hernandez is the side here. I think the line is wide. But, yeah, I think Chase should find a way to win this based on, historically the matchups and all Hernandez has lost fights. But I do think that with the line, we're talking 270, 250. I think the line is wide. Like, if you can trust Hernandez, it's probably a good dog shot to take. If not, if you just pick winner like pegs, you can put Chase Hooper in the parlay and hope for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best. It'll probably come true. Don't even sweat it. Some comments here. Hernandez money line. It's always pretty. Its fight is very split for how wide the line is, which is always kind of interesting. Like we're talking about a plus 200 and a minus 300. Yet you look in the comment section and people are on both sides. So it's kind of cool to see. Like seeing a lot of Hooper love. We see some Hernandez. Just kind of looking at it. But all right, let's move on here. Get this show.
Someone said about like the. We're saying that and we're picking Hooper or something like that. Yeah. Dirty Reg. Yeah, they all say this and they still pick Hooper. That's kind of the thing, guys. It's like it's a betting show we're doing.
It's values versus the actual winner. I pick winners, they go off value. It's kind of just
it doesn't mean if we say there's value on a spot, doesn't mean we're gonna bet it. It really depends on the read we have and how confident we are. And obviously, me and Key are under a payroll, so we're not just going to say all the bets we have just by respect for our members. But, yeah, I mean, if we watch a fight, we tape the fight, and then, yeah, I think Hooper's going to win. But, yeah, I think Hooper should be, I don't know, minus 150, minus 175, and the line is minus 300. So there's a lot of value on Hernandez. And if I feel confident about the way I'm capping the fight and my read on it, and I think there's enough value, then I might bet it depending on if I think he's 60% and the line is like 75, 15% edge is huge in MMA. So that's the thing. It's not really just who I think is gonna win and bet that. That's not how it works, and that's not how you're gonna make money long term in this game.
And respectfully, like the reason why we are different than most of the breakdown shows is because we don't skip a bunch of fights and we don't just say, oh, we think this person's going to win and we move on. Our job is to give y'all all of the information and angles that we see. So we're going to get that analysis.
Yeah, everyone listen. Everyone's friends here, right? We're all
there's new people in the show that's cool. I just mean to, we normally don't have to explain that, but just want to make it clear. Like, it's not because we're picking someone that we're going to bet him. But it's also not because I'm saying a guy is valued that I'm going to bet him either. It's really depend on how strong my read is.
All right, let's move on now. Jessica Andrade versus Loopy Godinez. Jessica Andrade is 5'1", Loopy Godinez 5'2". Andrade plus 130, Lupita Godinez minus 150. Very weird scale for a 4.6. I think you got to go this way. At least they're kind of painted. But that's besides the point. We
have new fan in the chat, and that's what you're saying.
But
tell them why they need to watch the show. But the Pegasus feeds.
Yes, exactly. This is the feet show. We look at feet and we read it all day. All right, low level girls fight, even though this is supposed to be high level, but I think the other girls fight was higher level. Loopy definitely has better feet. Yeah, this is.
You think Karine Silva and Dione Barbosa is a higher level fight than former champ Jessica Andrade?
I think Karine Silva cooks both these girls.
All right, man.
My queen cooks both these girls. Wait, okay, her nudes are extremely high level. All right, Key, you're going. Get us out of this. Get us out of the gutter here, bro. What's going on?
Yeah, again, some people that I respect were talking about Andrade. I wish that I got in early on Andrade. I did tape kind of late on this fight because I didn't think that I would have any interest. But this is a close fight, and I think that the line reflects that at this point. If you got early Andrade numbers, salute to you. I think that those are great bets because Loopy is somebody that doesn't separate very well. The only fights that she's dominating are people like Elise Reed and just absolute shit girls. And I do think that Loopy's straight shots will win in some of these exchanges, but Loopy's going to have to mix in the wrestling. If she thinks that wants to come in here 15 minutes and box, I think that she's in for a little bit of hell here because Andrade hits like a truck and she can exchange with the best of them. So I think Loopy has to wrestle, has to mix it in. I'm not saying that she has to sell out for the wrestling for a whole 15 minutes, but has to mix it in. Like, use your boxing just to get to your wrestling. Don't use your boxing just to think that you're the better boxer here, because that's the only chance that Andrade has, in my opinion, is just strictly striking. I don't think the takedowns are going to come super easy, nor do I think that Loopy has great top game. But I think that breaks up the fight, similar to how she had in the Pilastri fight. And whenever she wasn't getting takedowns in that fight and wasn't mixing it up, things started to turn. And so Loopy isn't going to, I don't think that Loopy gets KO'd or anything, but I can see Andrade winning a damage-based decision. But like Piezo said, I think there's a little bit of a Loopy IQ test. If she's smart here, she's going to wrestle a good little bit. And we've proven that Loopy can be dumb. But I don't think that Loopy just gets her down one time and that's the round. I don't think that Andrade's bottom game is that bad. I think Andrade has just ran into the most elite grapplers there are in the sport on the women's side. I mean, you're talking Suarez, Blanchfield, like those are hell to deal with whenever they're on top of you. Loopy does not have even close to that type of top game. She does have good wrestling, so that's what I'm saying. Continue to mix it in. But I think the Loopy is slight fave makes sense. But again, like I said, if you got early numbers on Andrade, I wish I would have gotten there. I wish I would have taped it earlier because I would have been right there with you. But Loopy is the pick, slight lean. But like I said, at this line, it's a pass fight for me.
All right, Trav, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, that's also a fight where I think there's value on the underdog, but I'm going to pick the underdog outright to win. So you guys are not going to be mad about this one. Yeah, I mean, Key, you mentioned it, the grappler, the people Andrade are losing to, but I'll add another features to that. It's the weight class. Most of her losses are at 125 against a big girl. Like Jasmine Jastovicius is a monster at 125 size-wise, and she's a really good wrestler. And, and she got submitted in some fight. Don't get me wrong. Some fights, it looked like she doesn't care. It looked like she was ready to go at home and, but she was never beating Jasmine. She was never beating Suarez. She was never beating even Blanchfield. Blanchfield fight was on really short notice, by the way, and she made it close early. But Loopy, her wrestling is good. Don't get me wrong, the wrestling is good. But the thing is, first of all, she doesn't go to it really often. And second off, she doesn't have the submission threat that all of these girls had against Andrade. Like, Andrade is still a BJJ black belt at the end of the day. And at 115, she's doing well almost all of the fight. Unless she's super outskilled and fighting like Natalia Silva, for example. That's really different matchup than this one. And even in that fight, she was going for it, She hit Silva with some bombs on the feet. And watching this fight, it's like, I don't know if you guys remember Godinez's last fight. She looked good. It was a fun fight. Before the round 3 start, they were in her corner, and she said, "Oh, I need to poop." And then DC or John Anik was like, "Laura, did they just ask Loopy that they did like they really put Laura on the spot about that?" That was so funny. But yeah, I mean, Loopy fight IQ is not really good. You guys mentioned it. Sometimes she should wrestle, she doesn't. And when she's striking, she's in a close fight. She was in a really close fight with Dern on the feet. She got outstriked against Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern and Andrade fought, and Dern is really tough, and Andrade knocked her out 3 times, and she find the KO. I just think that on the feet here, we're talking about a different level of power and moments. And I think Loopy can have success on the feet. Don't get me wrong. She's a decent striker. But when I'm watching Tabata Ricci dropping you, like, dog, I don't like to see that when you're about to face one of probably the hardest hitter in the division. And when you look in the girl that Loopy has fought, look at the power threat. When is there a girl she's fighting that hit hard? Let me just name the girl. Polastri, she does hit hard, but she's still kind of lower level. Dern, Jendi Roba, Ricci, Elise Reed, Ducote, Calvillo, Angela Hill.
All grapplers.
So now she's fighting a girl that, to me, has the better striking, has more power and big moments upside. So it's more how much wrestling upside do you give Godinez, and then do you think she's going to be able to easily, control Andrade? She doesn't really have good top control. She doesn't have the submission threat. So for me here, it's Andrade. I think it's a buy low spot actually here. I know she's having a ton of fight, a ton of mileage, but there's only a 2 years difference, and we have a former champion with a better striker, who hit harder, who have big moments upside. And I think that, stylistically, it's a good matchup for her. And I think that because of the losses that she had at 125 against way bigger girl, way better girl, that's a fight that she should win. I think I think the line should be 50-50. I think it should be -110 apiece, just because Loopy has wrestling upside and she's younger, she has less mileage. But again, she got outstruck by Mackenzie Dern on the feet. Let's just face it. So I think Andrade's gonna win this fight. I'm picking her outright. If you are in the Odd Shoppers team, I bet her. I +175. And all my guys got that line. So if you want to bet her now, it's +130. It's still value, but it's a different number. So that's why sometimes, like you said, the early numbers, when limits are open, it make a big difference in the line. I just think +175 is crazy. But here she's +130. Still pretty decent. So here's a free bet for you guys on the live stream, which I don't do too often.
Yeah, you're kind of convincing me to bet Andrade after that breakdown. To be honest, I wasn't too passionate about either side. I was kind of going to wait to see the scales and see what they both look like, because I wanted to see, if Andrade is still in shape, or because I don't really know what she's up to. Loopy's a professional. She always shows up up in shape, I guess, but she's kind of dumb as bricks. So I kind of agree with the whole IQ test thing. Like, that's kind of where I was at. Like, I can't really trust her as a favorite here. And Andrade is like, I didn't know what to expect either. But, yeah. No, you had a great breakdown. Nothing to really add. Key, you got anything, or you already broke it down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, I like it. I like what I'm hearing. Next fight, we got Gerald Meerschaert versus Michal Olajaychuk. Lord Michal, as they say. Lord Michal is 20-9. Gerald Meerschaert, GM3, is 37-19. 37 years old versus 30 years old. As you guys know, Michal is now a fighting nerd. Michal is -220. Gerald Meerschaert +185. I'm going to go first here just because my breakdown is relatively quick and easy. I think Michal by KO looks pretty good. I think unders on this fight are fine. I think if Michal does get the knockout, it's going to be in round 1. Like, I really think it's coming here. I don't know what round 1 props are. I assume they're probably decent for Michal KO, but that's probably the way I'd play it. I mean, I guess I don't know what's the under at right now. Under for me, we are looking at
it's -125.
Yeah, so I like that under a lot, actually. Oh, you're talking about from under 2.5, under 1.5. Under 2.5 is -275. Yeah, fight doesn't go as a parlay piece. I don't mind that either. I think either Michal's going to knock him out, or GM3 will find a sub later on in the fight. But you see, Kyle Brajo is training with Michal, so I'm relatively close to that camp. So I know they work grappling pretty hard, and they're doing that thing. So yeah, Michal by KO is pretty straightforward, easy for me. Job, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's actually funny when you watch that tape. It's kind of a really good matchup. Again, I think on this card, it's a really good card because the matchups are so great. Classic striker versus grappler matchup, volatile fight in a way. GM3 always live for these round 2-3 submission. And Michal is a round 1 KO guy, massive power, big pressure. And when GM3 loses, sometimes you get pressure and you get cooked early and you get caught on the chin. You know, he's a slow starter. He doesn't have the best defense. He doesn't have the best chin. Like, he's been KO'd 4 times. It could have been more, honestly. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's only 4. And 3 of them are in the first round. He's getting older. He's 37 years old. And you can see that, he's at the end. It's clear to me. And in his last fight against Brad Tavares, he didn't look good. I know it's not a good matchup for him, but still, he didn't look good. He didn't look good. He got hurt again there. He got dropped against the Ritter. Not a bad loss, but still getting dropped is concerning a bit. I had a submission round 2 against Edmund, and I mean, let's be honest, he almost died in that fight. He almost got finished. He got hurt to the body badly. Barbarena, a really good matchup for him. Petrosky, he got dropped early. Petrosky from the southpaw stance was able to drop him in round 2. So here in this matchup, it's like Michal is a southpaw boxer with massive power, with nasty body shot. That is going to make him, that is going to pressure him and put him on the back foot, which is going to make it harder for GM2 to get a takedowns. And he's only 30 years old. And I think that he's kind of getting his shit together. Remember, that's a guy that was fighting in his garage with his friends for his last couple fights, didn't really care, was just showing for a paycheck. And now he actually, since his last fight, he went to Fighting Nerds. And I recommend going to watch Michal Jacek on Instagram, actually, because I've watched his last couple posts for the last couple weeks, and the guy is training. He's training hard. He's locked in at this gym. I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm seeing. He looked really good. He looked really good. And rewatching like his takedown defense and all of that, honestly, Borraro in round 1, Borraro trying to take him down 3 times, he couldn't do it. He got a takedown at the end of round 1, right? But he had 3 attempts before that. He didn't get him. And he got him in round 2 and submit him, basically. But he got hurt. He got clipped with some shot against Michal in round 1, Borraro. So I don't think it's like, and Michal can also get up. Like against Jimmy Crute, he got taken down a couple times, and he got up a couple times in that fight. So, and yeah, against Kevin Holland, he dropped Kevin Holland early and he jumped in his guard. That was not a good look. But honestly, looking into it, it's like, I think Michal's going to pressure him. I think he's going to hit him really hard. And I think that
that's super important also.
Yeah, I agree with that. And GM3 like that body kick. I'm not sure it's going to be as much open here because of the stance. And like I said, the body shot of Michal, the big power, that's something that I don't think GM3 is going to like. And I think his chin is declining. Never been great, but declining. And he can be hurt to the body as well. Never been the best wrestler, always been a slow starter. And Michal is the opposite. He's a very fast starter. And when you look in the UFC, he has 8 wins, right, in his career. 7 of those are round 1 knockout. So, you know, normally he finish guys early. And when GM3 loses, he's getting spark early. So, yeah, GM3 could potentially get on top. He's a much BJJ guy. So if you want to take a poke on his submission or submission round 2 and 3, I don't think it's bad angles. But personally, I think Michal here is more in his prime at the right camp, doing the right things. And he's going to go out there, put him on the back foot, and knock him out early.
Yeah, you're just talking about that. Round 1 for Michal is plus 180. I think it's not, isn't give it just Michal Jacek just wins in round 1, not by like KO or anything. What do you think, Key?
Yeah, I put out a bet on this fight earlier today for Dub Club members. I'm not exactly sure how Michal wins, but I'm pretty confident he gets it done here. GM3's completely cooked durability-wise. Michal's taking fighting serious. I bet him last time out, I believe, minus 190 against Dumas. I think that the guy
170 on that, I think.
Yeah, this is a great move for him to go to Fighting Nerds. His brother is also there, going to be fighting on Dana White Contender Series 2. So, good signs for him. GM3. The guy's had a career that he skill-wise probably does not deserve, but he's a dog. He fights hard, but I think the body and the mixing up of the boxing will be a little too much for Michal, a little too much for GM3. So, I think he gets finished here.
Yeah, I'm seeing round 1 KO plus 200 here on DraftKings. Where you find that, Dads? Drop it in the comments. But yeah, I like Michal round 1 KO. I mean, KO minus 115 seems like a safe way to play Michal. I don't think this fight's going the distance at all. Yeah, give it to us, Daz. Pause. Fuck. Yeah, so we're just looking at GM3's been trash. Michal's free money. Everyone, yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's on FanDuel, by the way, the 280.
Aussie sports bet. Motherfuckers.
No, never mind. It was 250, I think, on FanDuel.
But
280s.
Aussies. That guy Mango last night. Mr. Mango. Interesting shit.
He's gonna be back.
Of course he will be, bro. He's the biggest star over there out of Hex. It was just interesting. De Silva did nothing. All right. This is the premier prelim fight, or the whatever they call it. I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe. King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Diego Ferreira 19-6. King Green 32-17. Line on these two gentlemen: Bobby Green plus 126. CDF minus 146. John, I'm gonna have you go first. I mean, we just watched Bobby Green come off a spinning heel kick loss to Hoofy, and before that, subbed pretty early before diving into a guillotine against Paddy Pimblett, and before that, he beat Jim Miller, where Jim Miller rocked him early and then broke his arm. So, I mean, is Bobby Green just wash at this rate? Because we've watched a lot of money come in on Bobby Green. He's plus 126 now. CDF was at minus 175 at one point. What do you think?
Yeah, I know some guys played that Bobby Green line. So honestly, I didn't tape that fight yet. I didn't want to bet it. I didn't want to tape it. I keep it for the last fight on my list because the line got smoke, and I don't really have interest betting CDF at chalk in his point in his career. But also, I don't want to bet Bobby Green if the line is not big because his chin is declining, his reflexes are getting worse, coming back after a bad knockout, obviously. But he's a guy that we know him, right? He's a good boxer, good volume, good cardio. He pushed on a good pace, decent takedown defense. He has a good game overall, but he fight with his hands down, and you always rely on his reflexes, head movement. But when you're getting older, and he's 38 now, you said?
Yeah.
When you're getting older, your reflexes are not the same. Your defense is not the same. He's almost 39. His chin is getting worse. He always had a good chin, counting on that. And yeah, CDF, he has decent power. He's been looking better of the two recently. A fight against Rebecca was a good look in a way. He got beat up early. He found his way back and finish him, which is not easy to finish Rebecca. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that point also. That's a good point. And I just think I think it's probably going to be a close fight somehow because both guys are older. But I kind of trust CDF a bit more at this stage in his career. It's kind of hard for me to bet Bobby Green right now. But yeah, I'm going to tape it fully. We'll see. Maybe my mind's going to change after. I'm going to post it in the hot choppers, if anything. But yeah, as far as the pick, I'm going to go with CDF. I think he has more left in the tank. But again, it's a fight I need to look more into. Maybe you guys have a better read or did more tapes than me on that one because I did not. I don't want to fake it.
Yeah, I like CDF here just because, when you're looking at a guy like a line like this, you're like, yeah, Bobby Green, we're talking Bobby Green of 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yeah, he stunts on him on the feet. Go back and watch the Mike Johnson fight. Diego Ferreira didn't look great, but look how that win aged. It aged pretty damn well considering Mike Johnson just beat the shit out of fucking, what's his name? Zellhuber. So I don't know. I mean, I think it goes to the ground, Diego Ferreira subs him. On the feet, if he gets touched, Diego Ferreira knocks him out. If it goes the distance, yeah, you probably could give it to Bobby Green because at that point, Diego hasn't found the chin or taken him down. And it's just been like a boxing match on the feet. But I don't know. I lean Diego Ferreira by sub here. I think if it goes to the ground like any amount of times, he'll find that sub. Although he's not like the best aggressive grappler. He does a lot of playing in his guard and stuff like that. I just think it's a levels game on the ground, to be honest. Yeah, Bobby Green's done a good job his whole career when he was younger, but I don't know. I was looking to get down on a Diego Ferreira bet at minus 145, but the line's only been coming in, so I'm kind of just watching, waiting and see. I'm also going to take a look at CDF inside the distance because I think he can win by sub or KO. That's pretty big plus odds. I'll probably play that. But that's my thoughts on it. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a pass fight for me. Two old men. Bobby's made some bad decisions lately. I think that there's a lot of red flags on his end. CDF is a weird guy for me to cap. I lean CDF, but that feels like if Bobby hadn't slipped on a couple banana peels along the way, that I'd be easily getting to a Bobby spot. So it's really a toss-up for me. The Hoofy fight has no meaning outside of the fact that it further shoots Bobby's durability down. But that was always a bad matchup for him at range. CDF fights hard. This line is about fair to me.
I saw this in the Discord earlier. Champs gave this out in the Discord. By the way, guys, join our Discord. These guys, Champs, a bunch of sharp guys, give out bets all the time. I thought that was an interesting look at it, honestly. Sorry, Keith, continue. That was rude.
No, I was done. I said I lean CDF. I think line's about right.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of thinking about to get down on that. Minus 150, though, for that Bobby Green fight. You don't have to worry about the finish. That's honestly what you did. Bro, we made a Discord. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks, I think. It ain't new. We've been guest pack. But, yeah, link is going to be below, I think. It'll be somewhere. But if not, I'll post it in the comments below. That's where our Discord will be. Like, comment, and subscribe. Moving on, first fight of our main card. We have Kai Asakura versus. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't flip the screens. We have Kai Asakura versus Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott 20-13. Kai Asakura 21-5. Odds in these two gentlemen: Kai Asakura -300. Tim Elliott +250. Key. Weird ass shit going on in Tim Elliott's Twitter space. From a fight chance, I mean, we've seen Kai just got out. We just see him just got melted by Pantoja and subbed. Everyone's looking at that as like Tim Elliott can wrestle and sub. What do you think here? Do you think Tim Elliott actually shows up to fight, or do we think Kai Asakura is going to knock him out? I kind of think Kai's going to just knock him out.
This is weird because, I mean, Kai could end up in the Tim Elliott universe of trick bags, and I will every time Tim Elliott fights, I'll bring it up that his performance versus Tagir is one of my favorites of all time. And if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But I think that here I think there's potential for him to get hurt really badly here. I'm not sure because I wasn't able to find it on social medias, but I know multiple people have said that he had all sorts of knee surgery. And that's the reason for the layoff. I know on Tapology it does say knee injury for one of the pullouts. So I'm not sure. A guy that definitely his striking game is based off of his movement and his rhythm and getting in that flow state. And the ring rush doesn't help, and it damn sure doesn't help if you're 38 coming off a knee surgery at flyweight. Kai's absolutely massive for the division. And I know Pantoja fight was a bad look, but that's Pantoja, and he looked like that for a reason. There's a big step down in competition. I think the UFC wants to get him right. I think the UFC wants him to get a highlight under their banner. So Kai by KO makes sense. It's just weird because Tim's a little weasel. I don't believe he's ever been KO'd. And he has awkward rhythm and awkward timing on the feed. I mean, awkward MMA, so it's his name on social media. So Tim's a weird guy. There's a lot of questions coming into this fight, but I can see Kai hurting him really bad or Kai winning a decision. Tim's a tough vet, so he could find ways to stick around. But I think that Kai's going to win this fight.
Here's the thing that I want to mention too. We talked about this in the Discord earlier today. Tim Elliott, those fights that he's winning where he's like a dog and he dogs them out are normally against guys with the cardio's a tiny bit suspect at times, but it's also against guys that are going to wrestle with you and going to grapple with you, right? We look at the win against Sue Matahari. I mean, that's our boy Sue. What are we going to do? He's bounced back better. Mokaev, grappler. Victor Altamirano stinks. Tagir just was too cocky, wanted to try and grapple with him, ended up getting out wrestled, right? Matus Nicolau tries to grapple. It's just like those are the type of guys he's getting. Pantoja, there's no loss in losing to Pantoja on your first fight in the UFC. Like that was crazy. Just seeing that headline was just like, what the fuck are they thinking? You just bought a brand new car and you just drove it into East Gun Hill Road in the Bronx or whatever bad neighborhood you want to be in. But that's all you did with that shit. So I don't know. I think this is a clear Kai spot. I think it's a setup spot. The interesting thing is I said Kai by KO, right? And people are like, yeah, it seems obvious, right? But I'm going to ask you guys this. How many times has Tim Elliott been KO'd in his career? Does anybody know?
He's never been KO'd in the UFC. Only one time, and it was back in the days before the UFC.
So, yeah. So that's my thought process. So I'm out here. I'm predicting Kai to get the first finish KO on Tim Elliott. What do you think, Geoff?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to put him to sleep. I think it's going to be a knee when Tim shoot a takedown. Tim, I've seen the way sometimes he shoot takedowns, and sometimes with his entry, he run face first into the takedowns. I mean, Kai knees and timing with his knees is one of the best in the division, probably. And he has nasty power, and he goes to the body with them as well. And, Tim Elliott also, his cardio is not as good anymore. Like, I don't know if you guys remember. I bet him against Altamirano, and I was sweating that bet. It was such an easy fight for him. And Altuve now no power threat and no takedown defense, and somehow he had some sketchy moments on the feet and he was getting tired running away. So yeah, and Tim Elliott is 38 years old, and he's on a 1.5 year layoff coming back. So what's up, Paul? So yeah, what?
He went like,
oh, I'm with my dog is at the same time doing something. So
what is your dog doing?
He's playing with his ball under. So yeah, he's bouncy. My bad. Yeah, so what I was saying is the way he times his knees and his power for flyweight is probably like one of the best we've seen in a long time, honestly. And I've watched this guy Kai highlights and fights on the regional, and even if his first fight against Manel Kape, which he won, we know Manel Kape, elite striker, elite durability. I don't think I've ever seen him hurt in the UFC. Kai hurt him. Kai got hurt, and he hurt him after that in the first fight. So he does carry insane power, and his knees to the body are brutal. And I just don't think Tim Elliott's going to be able to handle these type of damage at this point in his career. And yeah, he has the grappling upside. He could grapple. Kai is not the best grappler, but
I like this KO the best.
Oh yeah, that was nasty. Yeah, a very good win, by the way. That's a guy who has a win over like elite flyweight, like Origuchi you mentioned, Manel Kape back in the days. So yeah, and he lost to Pantoja. Look, Pantoja had to work for that submission. He had to work for takedowns because Kai was able to get back up, right? Pantoja elite back take, and Pantoja had a ton of success on the feet. He cracked him on the feet. I don't think Tim Elliott's going to have the same success or the same power on the feet that Pantoja did. And also, it was his UFC debut against the champion. So obviously, it's a massive step down in competition. And I just think the power difference, the striking difference, and the age difference is massive here. And Tim's going to run. He's going to run into a knee. I think he's going to get put out for the first time in his UFC career.
All right. Yeah. This guy's saying ITD. Just take ITD. Don't get cheeky with the KO. What's the price difference between that? I mean, that's what comes.
Yeah, it's not a big difference. And I understand in a certain way because, like, I mean, Tim Elliott has been submitted multiple times. But when you look, the guys he's been submitted against, most of them are good grappler. And I've run the tape on Kai, and I've not really see the guy. I'm not really see the guy go for takedowns, go for submission attempt. Kai, right? He's always going for the kill with the striking, and when people are shooting on him, he's not going for any submission really. So yeah, I don't know, man. He has, I think, 2 submissions in his career, but they were back in the day. And maybe he can club and sub him or something, but I really doubt he could submit Tim Elliott, honestly. I know he's been submitted multiple times, but if you get submitted against like Figueiredo, Brendan Whitehall,
the best guillotine, some of the best guillotines around. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same thing. But yeah, it could happen. I just, depending on the difference, you can play that. It's safer, obviously. But yeah, I think it's going to be a KO. All
right. Next fight. We just did comments. Next fight. MVP versus Jared Cannonier. This is MVP up at 185 now. 23-3 versus 18-8 Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier is 5'11", 77 inch reach. Michael MVP is 6'3", 79 inch reach. It's crazy that MVP is bigger than Jared Cannonier, and Jared Cannonier was a heavyweight at one point. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get MVP minus 190, Jared Cannonier plus 165. I'm going to go first real quick. I'm on MVP by KO. I mean, listen, it's plus 500, and we've seen Jared Cannonier on Bambi legs in 4 of his last 4 fights. We bet him against Gregory Rodriguez live plus 300 after I saw him survive. Cal Brajo rocked him. Nasruddin Imavov knocked him out. Vettori hurt him. You're getting hurt by Vettori. You can't be getting hurt by Vettori. And then Strickland split decision. So these type of guys are the guys knocking you out. He's going to be so much faster with a speed advantage from MVP. The way he enters and exits, striking, and what we saw him do against Shara Bullet, which we were all on MVP versus Shara Bullet. And even how, like, Machado, like that Gary fight is going to be the way that Cannonier finds his win. If Cannonier is able to push him to the clinch, grapple, take him down, get top time that way, and just be the bigger guy and lay on top of him, yeah, then we could see issues. As we saw in the Kevin Holland fight, where Kevin Holland almost locked in a rear naked choke. Yeah, those are the type of ways that you're going to be MVP, and that's what Jared Cannonier has to do. When's the last time we saw Jared Cannonier go into a fight and produce a grappling game plan? Not recent. And I just don't think he has it in him anymore. He's too old. His chin's losing. He's 41 years old. He just doesn't really look like himself anymore. And for that reason, I think MVP, big stage, main event, huge car in Chicago, I think MVP knocks him out. What do you think, Key?
Yeah, I backed MVP very easily against Char Bullet. That plus 143. But he's not the type of guy that I like backing at like minus 190 and minus 175 range because, yes, like whenever he wins, it always ends up looking somewhat dominant and cool. But like he's low key on thin margins. It's not like he's going to pump a jab for 15 minutes. Like he's going to bounce around and then blitz in, bounce around, blitz in. Like it's rinse and repeat. And so whenever you're facing guys that are strictly striking, like a Char Bullet matchup, I thought that it was a very clear bet because I didn't think that Char would be able to get that rhythm and timing. And outside of leg kicks, where you're going to be able to do to MVP. And that was really, and you think back to the Douglas Lima fights. I mean, that's what ended up getting Douglas Lima the knockout was kicking the leg out. And then while MVP was getting up, uppercut of hell and sent MVP to the Shadow Realms. But outside of that, like, what do you do to this guy standing? Like, what do you think you're going to walk forward easily? Like, that's not going to happen. And so it's just kind of weird. But then he sometimes will settle in positions in grappling that I don't think that he has to. And the Gary fight was weird because I thought that he made a couple bad decisions in that fight on the grappling end. But again, Cannonier, do I think that he's going to track him down? I don't know, but this is up at 185. Cannonier's the stronger and more physical guy in the clinch. So there is chance for Cannonier to be cage pushing. And he can get on top. I don't think it's out of, like, thought to think that he can get on top. I just don't think that it happens at a high clip. And so, but I think MVP KO is a nice way to play this. And the only way, in my opinion, that he just, like, big time justifies this price tag is that Jared's coming from the MMA lab, John Crouch and the guys. He's going to have a good game plan. So minus 190 is kind of tough for me to back straight. For whatever reason, I just don't like that number. If it was lower, maybe we'd be talking differently, but minus 190, I'm passing, but I do pick MVP to win. And I'm not super confident about him getting a KO or anything, but I do think he gets it done.
Just pick winner, Key.
Just pick winners. That's the key to success.
Put him in the parlays.
Well, I think if Michael Venom Page doesn't get a knockout like this fight, he doesn't, like you just said, he doesn't cover the price tag. Like, it's not worth the money line bet because if he's not getting a KO, then crazy shit's going on. Like Jared Cannonier is probably pressuring him, leg kicking, getting some clinch game going, getting takedowns. That's kind of how I think it goes. What do you think, Geoff?
Yeah, at the same time, man, I mean, Cannonier is a tough guy, bro. He's a really tough guy. Like, obviously, he can get hurt. He's 41 years old, and he's been hurt multiple times. But at the same time, he's, most of these fights, he's surviving. So, and MVP is a welterweight, going to 185 just because he couldn't really have big fight at 170. So I'm not a fan of it. But the speed difference here is just crazy to me. Like, he's going to be so much faster. And his footwork, his overall movement in the big cage, going to be a problem for a Cannonier. My worry is Cannonier could potentially leg kicks, and that has caused some issues to MVP in the past. And he could potentially cage push, potentially get a takedowns or two. He's going to be the much bigger guy. That's a guy who fought at heavyweight before compared to a former welterweight. But at the same time, the speed difference is going to show because of that. So I think MVP should get it done. I think he's the fresher fighter at this point. I think that he's the faster fighter, the better striker, the better defense and footwork. And yeah, people are shitting on his volume more often than not. But at the same time, bro, everybody that are fighting him are also low volume because they can't really get their game going. Because, even Ian Gary, for example, who's normally a high volume striker with good speed, he was too fast for Ian Gary, and Ian Gary needed to grapple. He couldn't really find him. And he made Kevin Allen look dumb on the feet. So that's a guy who is making people low volume on the feet when they fight him. So, yeah, you can say he's low volume, but everybody that he's everybody that are fighting him are also low volume because they can't find him. He's really hard to track down. So I'm not too sure about a knockout, honestly, but I think he's live to hurt him. That's for sure. So yeah, the price is big. I can't knock you for that. I'm gonna pick him to win, but it's not an easy fight, Jared Cannonier. Even at this point in his career, he's still doing his thing, and his losses are really good. So yeah, I'm kind of intriguing to see how it's gonna play out, but I think MVP is gonna find a way to get it done.
Yeah, join the Discord. I'll give it out there. Yeah, Cannonier, hard trusting his chin. That's kind of like my angle. That's kind of what I think too. MVP decision. MVP is in big trouble against Jared. Possible. That I saw something about. Where I see the one about the interview. Let's see. Paul Dalloway's got something good to say. All four Jared lost in middleweight, become an elite footwork fighters. Jared is best when fighters stand in front of him like Vettori and Strickland. That's fair. Something about him. Yeah, here it is. Could be good. That's what we're looking at. Tim Elliott. Oh, yeah. Tim Elliott got a haircut, supposedly. He doesn't look like a bum anymore. That's concerning. Has it all been a joke? Next fight, we have Geoff Hand of Steel Neal versus Carlos the Nightmare Prates. Geoff Neal, 16-6, 34, 5'11. Carlos Prates, 31, 21-7, 6'1. Line these two, Geoff Neal plus 190, Carlos Prates minus 225. So the line is coming in on Geoff Neal. I don't know about you guys. I bet Carlos Prates in his last fight. We were this close to the world being healed and watching Ian Carey KO'd and Carlos Prates being in title contention. But obviously now we're here. This is a fight that was supposed to happen before that fight, and here we are now. Yeah, I'm going to go first just because this is my favorite fight of the card. I'm a huge Carlos Prates fan. He's probably my favorite fighter. I think this is a Carlos Prates 2-3 spot. Carlos Prates always takes time to download like all these strikers do. He's going to start off with his kicks, then he's going to find his punches. Going to be very well put together. Only issue here with the KO2, KO3 is that Geoff Neal, everyone is sleeping on Geoff Neal. Geoff Neal doesn't get finished often. The only person that really hurt him was Shavkat, and then Shavkat subbed him after that. He didn't even finish him after hurting him. So Geoff Neal is very durable. Geoff Neal's boxing, he's always game on the feet, and his volume is going to be there. So now you're talking about a guy in Carlos Prates who's relatively low volume, and he's going to be in front of Geoff Neal, where Geoff Neal is hopefully going to try and pressure and put up volume. So you think round one, okay, that might be a scratch for the round one. Now we're talking round two. Carlos Prates starts putting it together. Round three, Carlos Prates going for the kill. That's kind of how I see this fight going. It's a general Carlos Prates fight. On the feet, it's going to be levels. There's going to be no wrestling here. It's going to be straight. This is just going to be a straight up banger. I think Carlos Prates finds the finish here, and that's pretty much it. What do you think, Geoff?
Honestly, it's a fight where I need to do more tape on. I don't have the best read so far. I started to do tape on it. It's hard for me to bet against Geoff Neal at this big of a price because like he's always durable. Only been KO'd back in the day by Kevin Holland. Fought really good guys. He has really big power, good ends. But yeah, Carlos Prates has more tools, and he's the younger guy. But sometimes he's a slow starter. Takes his time. I feel like he's gonna be able to get it done. But I just don't know how, and I don't know how close it's going to be. But I think Geoff Neal can compete here. So, yeah, I think Prates is going to win. I just don't have much interest right now in the current line.
Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Geoff Neal's really weird for me. He's saying in interviews he expects this to be a one-round fight, and he's just going to gum straight at Prates, and they're going to duke it out. Like, those are weird things to hear. It's just... I don't know. At times, the guy looks world class, and then he'll sit around and like
he looks like the Texas Roadhouse waiter. That's the difference, right? He's always between those two.
And then yeah, exactly. And so either he looks like he's actually still working at Texas Roadhouse, or he looks like he should have the belt around his waist. And it's just weird. Like the Ian Gary fight, I get it was like weird timing, but like that was just really weird to watch. And then the Shavkat fight, he's hurting Shavkat. And then we know what he did to Luque. I mean, that pretty much ended Luque's days at the top. And so it's just weird. And then he's going to split life and death with Ponzi. Like, you just don't know what you're gonna get. So it's like, and I get it. He has some out the octagon issues at times with the drunk drive and blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. So I don't know what to think about this guy. He's coming up on 35. It seems like he should have his shit together. The RDA win means absolutely nothing to me. He's still serving tables.
Oh man! All right, bet the house on Carlos Prates.
What the fuck? And I'm not even gonna argue about fighter pay, but that's crazy if he's still serving tables. Actually,
Dana White said everyone's getting paid more on the Part of My Take podcast with the new CBS.
Nah, but the fact that we're talking about top 15 guy in the world is still having to serve tables to make it like that's problematic.
Well, he said he liked it. He does it because he likes it.
Okay, then he's just a fucking weirdo. That explains even more about Geoff Neal. So exactly, point proven. Geoff Neal, I don't know what the fuck to expect. Prates, I'm still high on him. I think that the Ian Gary fight was a good lesson for him. And I'm still pissed that he didn't put the finishing shots to save my ticket and win me that bet. But it is what it is. I think Prates finds him eventually. But this is weird. I'm interested to see what Prates looks like early if Neal does come out with a lot of intensity. I want to see what it looks like. So I have no bet on this fight, but we'll see.
Yeah, so a mobile gym and it keeps him out of trouble. Yeah, this is a recipe for disaster for good old Jeffy boy. I also read that name like when I was younger, I'd read that name and be like Geoff, like it's like an English name, but like that's just how you spell Jeff, I guess. I don't know. Job is nowhere to be found. Meatball is Geoff Neal has sepsis and bad heart issues. He's lucky to be fighting.
What the fuck did this?
I thought sepsis was like trench foot. Like you got to cut your foot off or something. You get that at war or something like that. But he was with club. He made $300K last year, so he must really like it. Yeah, no, he said.
Power to him, bro.
All right, Drov's not here, so we're moving on without Drov.
Drov already said he didn't. He gave.
No, he didn't. It was me. I went first, then you went. Now Drov, right?
No, Drov.
Yep, you're right. You're right. All right, that's my fault. Moving on. Lerone Murphy, Aaron Pico.
Hashtag new host.
Yeah, Drov. I was just thinking about Drov so much. That's why. Aaron Pico minus 172, the buyback. Murphy plus 147. Drov, you gave out Pico as your free bet of the week. If anyone listened to the Edge Zone podcast, we gave him out as our free bet of the week as a group. Why is Aaron Pico going to knock out Lerone Murphy, who flew in on Monday night?
I'm not too sure it's going to knock him out, but I feel pretty good about him winning. And, guys, if you've not seen, you've probably seen, I can believe you've not seen. I post him as free bet of the week. 100 and I don't even know how to say it. 112K view on the post, 700 like 80 hate comments. Scroll if you want to have fun, just scroll down, watch the comments. You're gonna have a laugh. A shit ton of haters. People hate Aaron Pico this week. They think he's a bum. They think he's a Bellator can crusher. He's not UFC level. They think that he's crazy that he's a favorite over Lerone Murphy, who's undefeated, who's been there, done that. I mean, on paper, I understand. If I just don't watch the tapes and I'm watching the tape, I'm just watching Topology, and I just wiki cap it, I'm going to tell you Murphy's going to win, and this one is crazy. But when you actually sit down, watch the tape, and watch the film, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, it's a good matchup for Pico. Reason being, that's what we did last time, so I don't want to talk about the matchup all alone. I'm going to let Key handle the wrestling aspect of the matchup in the background. But basically, Pico wrestling is super legit, and that's something that people are not really going to know if you just watch his highlights and his big knockout. But his wrestling is as good as it comes, and the best that Murphy has ever dealt with in the UFC, right? Really, really good wrestling. And he's gonna be able to get many takedowns here if he wants. Murphy, 50% takedown defense. He has good get-up game to his credit, but he can be taken down. And he's been taken down by way worse grappler. Okay, so that's going to be a pat for Pico right off the bat. And then on the feet, and the way I see it playing out, it's like Murphy is a really good striker. I think his kicks are really good. I think a good game plan here will be the leg kicks and the knees. That's a good pat for him. But man, I'm watching him and the way he fight. And when he get back up against the fence, that's where he can be in danger, and that's where he can get hurt, right? Danny Gay clip him bad in the pocket, knock him down, and almost knocked him out, right? I think this matchup is similar to Danny Gay in a sense, but I think Pico hit harder, And I think Pico's a much better wrestler. And it was a 50-50 fight against Daniil, right? He almost died in round 1. And if you go back against Turluov back in the day, his UFC debut, that's a draw because he got 10-8 in round 1. He got dropped in this fight as well. He got taken down multiple times. So he can be hurt. He can be dropped. We've seen that. I don't think he's like chinny per se, but he's been hurt before. And I think he's facing one of the most dangerous guys he's fought in his career. I know Josh Emmett hit really hard. Josh Emmett is 40 years old, guy, right? I know Danny get hit really hard. He almost killed him. Pico power is different. Let me tell you guys. The way he goes to the body and the way he go with that left hook is really, that's the thing. I was on Bautista. I think we were all on Bautista.
I wasn't.
No, you were not. Me and Key. No, I was sure Key was. But yeah, I was on Bautista, and I said that week, I said, like, it's a good matchup for Bautista. He's a really good fighter. He's been underrated here, and I like the matchup for him, all right? Here, I think it's a good matchup for Pico, so that's the thing. And yeah, so the striking, right? I think he has big moments upside on the feet. I think he has KO upside on the feet. Who's Murphy knocking out? I know Pico has been hurt and knocked down before.
Cool hands.
But like Murphy is, like, if he knocks him out, it's going to be a knee, or he's going to need to beat up his legs. That's kind of the path that I see. But overall, I think Pico is live to knock him out. I think he's live to land many takedowns. I think he's going to be the one pressuring. He's also the guy on the full camp. With what I've seen, really good preparation going in. And Murphy took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. And he flew out on Monday night, like you guys said, from UK to Chicago. So I don't like to see that. And, Murphy is not, he's kind of in his prime. Don't get me wrong. He's 16-0, but he's 34 years old at 145, right? Pico's 28. Pico, I think his ceiling is champion caliber. And I think Murphy is top 5 guy for sure. He's really good. But I just think it's a good matchup for Pico overall. I give him more finishing upside with the KO threat, with the big power threat. I think he's more likely to hurt Murphy. I think he's the guy that's going to push the wrestling if anyone is. So, yeah, Murphy's probably going to get up. I don't think Pico's going to just hold him down for multiple minutes. But when you have to worry about A, the big power, B, the takedowns, and you're on short notice, I don't like that, man. I think Pico is really legit. I think he's the next big thing, honestly. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he get caught. Maybe it's too much too soon for him. Maybe it's too much of a step up. I know his wins are not really good. Don't get me wrong. He's been caught before. He's been KO before. But, one of them was a nasty flying knee. And one of them is a shoulder.
In a fight that he was winning.
He was winning the fight. Exactly. He was winning the fight. He got caught with a flying knee. Shit happened. It's MMA. One of his losses is his pro MMA debut. And another fight he lost against Jeremy Kennedy. 1 minute in, his shoulder popped, right? He did everything he could to try to get that shoulder back in. He couldn't do it. Even his corner try, he couldn't do it. So, yeah, he got taken down in that fight and all of that, but I don't put too much stock into it. So, yeah, Murphy has shown me that he can be taken down. He can be hurt. I think Pico can do both. So, yeah, Pico season. And, yeah, all the 8, but the line's moving the other way. The market and the sharp money is on the other way. Yeah, he could turn out 17-0. He's really good, Murphy, but I think it's a really, really, really hard matchup for him. I think Pico's the real deal. So yeah, Key, you can go next, especially for the wrestling, because I know you did a lot of research on that part.
Yeah, I played Pico at -125, and I honestly was afraid at the time that I was might have been buying too high. I'm kind of surprised at this line movement. I knew that people with eyes and that watch the tape were going to like Pico a decent bit, but I thought that there would be a lot more questions and some people would have that Bellator debutante PTSD. What
do you think about the under 2.5?
No, I'm not. But anyways, I think that here in this spot, Pico, I mean, one, the wrestling credentials are elite. I mean, the guy, as Champ said, won states in California, but then put all of his focus onto Olympic trials and was washing people. Future Olympians ended up washing some of those guys, and he was, 17, 18 at that time. And so that just gives you sort of the prospect that this guy was coming into it. I think the Bellator completely mismanaged his career and threw him to the wolves too early. I think that he was in a bad camp early on and wasn't at Albuquerque with Brandon Gibson, the guys, and some of the guys over at Jackson Wink. And I think that the guy is everything that we thought he was going to be. He's just slipped on a few banana peels along the way. I mean, the debut loss is just hilarious to watch. The flying knee, it's like, what can you do? Adam Borich is a lot of his knockouts come from flying knees, and Pico was winning that fight and just got caught. And then the shoulder with Jeremy Kennedy. What can you fucking do? I mean, so that's 3 out of 4 of his losses. It's kind of just like, you slipped on a banana peel, bud. Like, were you truly outmatched as a mixed martial artist? It didn't look like it. In the Corrales fight where he did get KO'd, I think that was him being young and just wanting to brawl, and he's talked about that. So since then, we've seen him beat up some guys that I think aren't on his level, and this is a step up in competition. But I think that Pico has the perfect, and by I mean perfect, I mean the perfect wrestle boxer game that many guys have tried to strike coming over from high wrestling credentials, have tried to strike in the UFC and in mixed martial arts. But this guy just blends it together so well. The way that he shoots off of his strikes is beautiful, one. And he doesn't have some great top control, even though he does have some dangerous front chokes and can threaten with those. It's not like he's one takedown is the round or anything or the fight. But the guy mixes it up so well, and he pushes you to the cage, and his boxing background starts to show. Because then once he pushes you to the cage, it's almost like you're cornered in a squared ring. And he's letting off body hooks, he's letting off hooks up top. And I mean, his pop is top 3 in the division right now. Like that is no doubt in my mind. He is top 3 in the division in terms of power right now. And I saw Volk talking about he'll wash Pico and shit like that. Volk, I do think he could get the kick game going, but Pico is a motherfucker to deal with, and you do not want to be in boxing range with him. I think Pico's boxing is that legit. I mean, I've been around and seen enough good boxing to know what good boxing looks like, and he is a good boxer. There's just no other way to put it. And in MMA, where there's so rare to see good boxers, Pico stands out above all. Lerone is a guy
too, like the way he goes to the body. It's like GDM and Topuria level. People don't understand.
I mean, he pushes these guys to the cage and just lets it off, and there's no exiting. There's no exiting. There's no backing up. I mean, your exits are literally walking into hooks. So I just love his game. I think that his game is beautiful. But I do have questions about the durability. I mean, yes, he could get touched, and that is a thing. I don't think Lerone is the guy to do it. But somebody with more power, he could get touched again, and we could see that. But I think the leg kicks here, I think Lerone has to be on very early because Pico has shown that he can be leg kicked. So I do worry about Pico not checking leg kicks and letting that add up and that messing with his movement and some of his explosion. But outside of that, Lerone damaging a nerve in the calf early or something, Lerone has the fight pretty perfect for 15 minutes, and that's a really tough ask for somebody coming in on 3 weeks notice. And so this isn't, so this isn't a favorable matchup for him. This is somebody who matches the physicality and athleticism of Lerone. And Lerone's been getting kind of lucky, I'll be honest, because one, the Josh Emmett fight, people are like, oh, Josh Emmett has a lot of power. Josh Emmett throws one big shot at a time. Josh Emmett just found out what a jab was last year. And so Josh Emmett isn't a guy that has some real boxing game. He's a guy that hits hard. That's all that is. Dan Ige found his chin, damn near put him away. And then he's fighting guys that just simply aren't on this level. Edson Barboza, Coulibaly, and Gabriel Santos, he lost that fight, and I will die on that hill. He lost that fight against Gabriel Santos. And I think if we get the correct decision in that fight.
Is that an argument? Do people, I feel like most people say Santos won that fight.
Yeah, but people love flaunting this undefeated record as if like he truly deserves to be undefeated. He's not. He doesn't deserve to be undefeated. So I think that here Murphy is great at mixing the martial arts, but he's running into somebody that does it better than him, in my opinion. And so Pico's going to walk him down. I wouldn't be surprised to see Pico find a KO here. I think that that's really the only finishing upside in this fight is a Pico KO. I don't think that Murphy finds him. And I think that Murphy's path is damaging leg kicks, in and out movement, and just frustrating Pico. Pico hasn't been in the ring a lot, and Murphy has much more ring time in these past 2 to 3 years than Pico has. And so I think that is focusing, coming out strong early with leg kicks and messing with the rhythm of Pico, hoping that some of that ring rust starts to show. And that's the reason why I didn't necessarily nuke it at minus 125. And I am a little surprised to see this line get out this far, even though I do think that this is about correctly lined now. I am surprised to see it because we haven't seen Pico in the ring for long periods of time in a while. So there could be a weird adjustment period, and I'm not worried about the UFC bright lights though, because this kid has been. I mean, Scott Coker was talking about this guy as Tiger Woods and the LeBron James of MMA, and all of those sayings were very valid at the time, in my opinion. And like I said, a few banana peel slips along the way. I still have eyes and can see that this is a special talent in MMA, and we need to enjoy it. And I hope that he gets the KO, and I think that he'll fight for the belt next if he does get the KO. And him and Volk, him and John Silva, I think that those are the 3 title contenders that we'll be talking about sort of a round robin type of way soon coming up in this featherweight division. But Pico is special. Lerone has sort of high rolled his UFC career, 34 years old. He's gotten hurt a few times. It's about time that somebody puts him away.
Yeah, I think Gene Silva puts both those guys out, but we'll get into that later. There's not really much I have to say.
Oh, and I see Elijah talking about the Coach Cal conditioning. CEO
VPO.
The EPO could be on the way. Yes. But legit, Coach Cal is a very, very good and high level strength and conditioning coach. I did a lot of research into a smart guy, science based. So I think that Pico and Khamzat both are gonna show up with some solid cardio.
If you know football, stuff like that, like he's big in football, big in other sports too.
And with all the Penn State wrestlers, he has a bunch of Penn State wrestlers with him too. Yep. Armis Sarukian's over there with Coach Cal too. He has a lot of good guys in that garage.
Dude, it's Coach. Everyone knows Coach Cal, CEO, VPO. All right. Josh Emmett's 40. I mean, I kind of went through some of the comments already. I'm not going to give a breakdown. You know, if Key is that passionate, you know what the bet is. What did you say? You had one more thing you had to say, Joe, before I move on to the next one.
No, it's just about before we break the main event, so you can insert the comment first.
All right, we did most of the comments while we were doing that. Let's see, most of our.
I had a bet on Pico plus 235, I believe, against Mozart, and I'm pissed because I'm very confident that
I would have been on Mozart.
He would have gotten Mozart the fuck out of there.
Yeah, Mario can eat shit and die for all I care, to be honest with you.
You're gonna become a fan sooner than later.
I will never be a fan of that man. I promise.
Imagine the scene.
I want to see him fight Khamzat. How about that?
He's fighting Umar. Imagine the scene when you cook Umar in round 3, 4, 5.
He can actually cook Umar, which is kind of scary. I do agree with you there. I do agree with that.
He's gonna be a big underdog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Carly Judice.
Both are really good. But
Carly Judice above everybody. Carly Judice for fucking president.
Mario.
She's so fun, bro. She's so fun, Judice.
All right, so we'll move on to the main event, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're actually at 760 viewers. We're at like 80 on YouTube, 660 on Twitter. This is the most we've ever had. Thank you guys so much for watching our show. We appreciate the support. We appreciate everything about it. We can't thank you guys enough. The best way to support us, like, comment, subscribe. It's all we ask. We do this every week. We give you free bets. We make you guys money. We have a Discord where we all shoot shit. Come join us. Like, this is all we can ask, man. All right.
We are at more than 700 people in here, and I'm sure it's not everybody on Twitter or YouTube that are subscribed. We're at 7 and 900. Bro, I don't know how to talk. 790 sub right now on YouTube, right? It's the biggest pay-per-view of the year. What we want is to break 800 subs on YouTube. I'm sure we can do that, right? We have almost 800 people watching. Most of you all on Twitter are probably not not subscribed to the YouTube. So go out there, subscribe to the YouTube, please. We do this for free every week, like Peg said. And also, what I want also is like the video, but in the comments, because after the video, we don't have as much comments sometimes. We do sometimes when I ask a question, and we don't do that too often, but I want you guys that you're watching the video, agree, disagree, you can comment, but let us know your favorite dog on the card, because it's 15 fights. So I want to know your favorite dog on the card and your most confident play on the entire card. We're going to insert to most of you guys in the comments if we agree, disagree. So yeah, comment down below, and we can break down that beautiful main event, one of the best fight in the entire year. I'm so pumped for it. So we'll
get a lot of cycle parlay at the end. All right, guys. You guys
we can do that as well.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. This is the best main event of the year so far. We have Khamzat Chimaev versus Driscus du Plessis. Driscus du Plessis, plus 205. Khamzat Chimaev, minus 237. I'm going to go first. I didn't give a breakdown for Pico. I mean, a lazy man's breakdown, and kind of the obvious way to feel how it goes is, Driscus late, Khamzat early, just because Driscus drags guys to the swamp. Swamp is the new meta, like I said, against DDP, Fluffy, all these guys. That's what it is. This could be similar here. Khamzat's with Coach Cal now. If Khamzat fixes his cardio, and he has that cardio, he's going to be the best fighter we've ever seen touch the octagon, hands down. If he doesn't have that cardio fixed, DDP wins rounds 4 and rounds 5. Rounds 1 and rounds 2, those are usually Khamzat's rounds. Few intangibles. This is the biggest guy Khamzat's ever faced. This is the I guess this is just a big step up in competition for Khamzat when it comes down to that. Most guys have been at like 170, right? When we talk about Driscus, I mean, he's just an awkward fighter. You go back, some red flags, or if you go back and watch a Derek Brunson fight, you see, or Derek Brunson get on top of him, you see him pull Brad Tavares on top of him. There's a few times where he makes questionable decisions on the ground. If Khamzat gets there, he's going to sub you. This feels like a spot that you bet live. And here's why I'm saying that. Driscus, right? You go in betting Driscus now. Why not wait till end of round 2 or round 2-ish, round 3-ish, where you can see how the fight's going? He'll have lost 1 round by then, or 2 rounds. At that point, you'll have him at plus 400 odds. Take him then. Likewise, fight's very close, and we're getting a close fight going into round 3. Now you have a chance to pick your poison with Khamzat or Driscus at minus 150, minus 125. Now you're getting better odds either way. That's the way I'd probably look at this fight, just because, like, listen, minus 230, if minus 230, if you miss it on Khamzat, like, you'll survive. I'll survive. I miss minus 230 hitting a line beforehand. If he goes out and smokes him in round 1, it is what it is. But I don't know. I think Khamzat's takedowns, his grappling is going to be pretty good early. If he fixes his cardio, Driscus is fucked. But if not, if everything was okay, I think Driscus drags him deep and drowns him. Geoff, what are you thinking here?
Again, like I said, absolute banger. There's Pico. I think it's probably key. So absolute banger. I'm really excited for this fight. You can make a case for both sides. It looked kind of obvious to break down this fight down, so I'm a little bit worried about it. Maybe we're missing something, and I think one thing we might be missing is I think we might be underrated Khamzat cardio and ability to win decision.
I'm worried about that, especially with Coach Cal.
I just wanted to be really careful about that. You guys know I've been a DDP guy, DDP backers. When he's plus money, I always love to back him. I'm not rushing to bet him. I know the price is growing. If you want to bet DDP, just be patient. The line's going to get better. It's plus 200 some places now. Probably going to get plus 210, plus 220. Chimaev's maybe the best fighter in the UFC right now, right? He's one of the best, obviously. He's finally fighting for a belt. One of the best fighters in round 1 we've ever seen. His grappling, his wrestling, he's super strong. So it's really scary to bet against him. But at the same time, it's his first 5 rounders. And I know it was scheduled for 5 against Whitaker, I think, right? Was it? I think it was.
The first booking was, I'm pretty sure the second one was.
I'm not sure. Let me just confirm that. Just want to make sure I don't say any bullshit. Yeah, it was 5 rounds against Whitaker. It was still a first round finish, so it doesn't matter too much. But what I'm trying to say, it's maybe the first fight is going to go 5 rounds against DDP, because DDP is not going to be easy to finish. I don't think Chimaev is just going to take him down and submit him in the first round. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I actually think that if Chimaev finish him, it's probably going to be like in round 2 or something. And I have no doubt in my mind that Chimaev is going to be able to take him down early on. DDP even said it himself. He said, I'm going to be taking down early. I know that. But they work a good game plan. I think he's going to be able to get back up sometimes, make Chimaev work. And on the feet, I've spotted a couple things. I mean, DDP, first of all, he's the bigger guy that Chimaev has ever fought, but he's also the most dangerous guy that he's fought. If you look Chimaev, like some of his wins recently, it's like Gilbert Burns. He went to war with him, and Burns, former lightweight, obviously, right? And Burns, he hit hard, but like he doesn't hit as close as hard as DDP, and he cracked Chimaev a couple times in the pocket when Chimaev was rushing in the pocket. If DDP connect with those same shots, I think he can put him down and maybe put him out. So that's a possibility. And then Chimaev, every time he went like the distance, every fight were close, like against Usman was going up a weight class at 185, and he was on short notice. So he got dominated in round one. Super impressive for Chimaev. I'm not going to hold that fight against him. But again, Usman is older. We know the knees and all of that. So, and Chimaev, I think, broke his hands or something in that fight. But still, Usman kind of won round 2 or 3, or it was really close. I don't think Chimaev cardio is as bad as what people say. Like, he obviously slowed down in round 3, but it's not like he's dead gas, He's going to be preparing well for this fight, so I don't think he's going to dead gas. But I do have concerns about round 4 and round 5 in this fight. I do think it does favor DDP just because he's been there before. He's done that before. And again, he's going to be the better striker in this matchup, but I don't think Chimaev is a bum striker. I think his striking is actually maybe a bit underrated going into this matchup. I think DDP is hittable. He can do a lot of dumb shit. I know you guys critic his style a lot on this podcast. I just think he's effective. You make it work for him, so good for him. But I do think that I have concerns because he's not really fight that type of style either, a massive grappling beast. He fought Brunson, was a good wrestler and good in round 1. Bad optic in round 1 in that fight. But yeah, he make it work. He find ways to win. He's just a winner. So is Chimaev. That's kind of the tricky part of that fight. So I don't know, man. Honestly, I think Chimaev's going to win. I don't want to bet against him. I think he's the better fighter here. I think that he's going to, be up 1 or 2-0 going into round 3. Like, I'm pretty confident. So yeah, I favor DDP in round 4 and 5, but yeah, he might win another round and win a decision, or maybe he's going to finish Chimaev by knockout. I don't really know what's going to happen, honestly. I feel like GTD could be really sneaky. I could see this fight going the distance. I could see like Chimaev winning 3 rounds, DDP making it close at the end, but it's not enough. I could see Plessis knocking him out, catching him with a big shot. I could see Chimaev taking his back, rear naked choking him. Also, I'll say Chimaev, when people are trying to get up and are not careful, he's really good with that Darce choke, and he's good as, going in. So Duplessis is going to he's going to need to be careful about that, but I'm sure his cam's going to know their team is really good. And another thing I'll add is like both of these guys has elite mindset going into fights, so they're not going to quit on themselves. So yeah, really good fight. I'm really excited for it. I'm not sure what I'm going to bet, but there's a couple betting angles that I like. I'm going to see what I do later in the week. No bet for me so far. It is dog or pass, but I mean, I think Chimaev's going to win, man. I'm just not sure how he's going to do it. Maybe Chimaev decision. I'm going to check the price for that. Could be really sneaky because, like, I assume people are going to play fight dog, go distance, and parlay. A lot of money on Chimaev right now. People are going to play Chimaev inside the distance. People are going to play Chimaev by submission, Chimaev round 1, Chimaev round 2. And there's going to be money on DDP, obviously. So if Chimaev win a decision, could be, like, really an upset in a certain way because the fight is, like, minus 300 to don't go the distance, minus 400 to not go the distance. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, I think Chimaev's going to win. Just not sure how he's going to do it. I think DDP, at the current line, plus 200, he's getting disrespected a bit as a champion. And as a guy who was defending his title a couple of times, and, as a big dude, a strong dude, will hit really hard and it's dangerous. So, and it's been 5 rounds before, proven cardio for 5. So yeah, at this price, I could only bet DDP, but I'm just not sure I want to do it. That's the thing. I need to think more about it.
All right, Keith, close us out. What are you thinking, brother?
Yeah, I think Khamzat gets it done. It's interesting because I don't know if Khamzat gets the choke in round 1. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he absolutely dominates round 1. So in that case, it kind of already eliminates a pre-bet for me. But Khamzat is a motherfucker, man. I mean, he's gonna shoot, and there's nothing you can do about it in the first minute. Like, there's literally nothing you can do to get away from that shot. And I don't think that Khamzat cardio is going to look better from he's going to be able to go at that pace for 5 rounds, because that has to be, like, not possible humanly. Like, it can't be humanly possible to run that pace for 5 rounds. But I do think that he will be more calm and trusting of his cardio in rounds 3 through 5 if it does get there. I would be able to think that with all the work that he's put in, it seems like he's had the perfect camp. He's tossing around DC, around the hotels and shit. It seems like he's in a good space. I would think that he's going to look better. Unlike the Usman fight, where it seemed like he wasn't trusting his cardio as much in the Usman fight, and he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't get him out of here in round 1." I think here he can be expecting that DDP is going to give him a little bit of a tough time. So I think that Khamzat's cardio concerns are a little overblown, and it's important to note that he won that 3rd round against Gilbert Burns after getting his head turned back, literally getting his head turned back and rocked, and at 170 depleted weight cut, he was able to win round 3. So Khamzat has that dog in him, and people tend to forget and try to make it seem like he's just a round 1 warrior, but Khamzat has shown that he's willing to fucking fight if he has to. It's just that he's so dominant that not too many people have really he's had to go into those waters. But I think here DDP isn't going to get away with the goofy shit. The kicks will end up running him into takedown opportunities for Khamzat. It's not like DDP is going to sit here and look like Canelo with his hands. So I just see too many ways that Khamzat's able to get back into the fight, even if DDP starts having success from a cardio standpoint and outpacing him. I see too many ways that DDP inevitably gets himself in trouble because he is doing a bunch of goofy shit. So I think that Khamzat finds his back. I think he dominates. I'm not parlaying Khamzat because I just want to see it. I want to see how this fight goes. It's a huge fight. It feels like we had the Islam and Taporia flake out on us. We had Jones and Aspinall flake out on us. I'm just excited to finally get one of the fights that we've been asking for and wanting to see for a long time. And Khamzat finally getting a chance at the title.
Do you think we've ever seen Driscus as the Nail?
I mean, Brunson made him look like the Nail for a little bit.
That's the
Brunson was whooping that ass.
I mean, I've seen him, and I think Brunson's a generational fraud. So, like, that's the only reason.
Brunson gassed out, but and that's part of the reason I'm not.
Is that a true Nail?
Part of the reason it's harder for me to even want to even think about DDP pre is because in the grappling exchanges, and people are tossing around that the clip of him running through the BJJ tournament, and I get it, he's a strong guy, solid
those guys are fucking drops weight.
But that is completely different. And whenever we've seen him on bottom in MMA, it's been bad looks, like real bad looks. So I'm not going to think that all of a sudden after one camp, he's going to be able to like be just fine on bottom against one of the most dominant top pressures that we've seen early in the sport of mixed martial arts. So Khamzat, I think he gets it done. And I think that we get to see the ceiling of what we should have seen for a long time for Khamzat.
All right. Yeah. He was scheduled 5 against Holland, 5 against Diaz, DDP, Dead Man Walking, CEO of EPO. Apollo was that. Khamzat by KO for Jewish Better. Second time ever. The only guy to beat him was Robert Soldich, who's the only other guy to knock out him. I like this parlay, guys. If you want to bet it, I actually love this parlay. Maybe on it myself, probably not, but maybe. Brunson was putting it on him on the feet. Yeah.
But honestly,
did beat the shit out of DDP.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, Till, Brunson, all that shit. Like, you guys need to remember, like, the guy is really improving since then, and there's reasons why he's winning fights at the end of the day. And you know, if you go back to the Darren Till fight and you hold that against him for like all of his career, like you've been betting against him for way too long. So I don't think it's fair to just hold that fight against him saying he's looked bad, because I don't think that's fair, honestly. Like the guy is improving, and sometimes he look bad on tapes, but he still wins. So that's always been like that for DDP.
What's the line on Khamzat 1-2? That's not bad. You get that probably fight special on FanDuel. That's where I think you'd see that. But all right, guys, that's the show. Let's do our cycle parlay and get out of here. What do you guys?
I have the decision leg, but I have 3 options, so you guys can go first on what you want. But I'm gonna pick a decision leg.
Key, what are you thinking? I'm gonna do Michal Chuck by KO. Rob said he's gonna pick a decision, so you just gotta pick a sub. Or do you want me to pick the sub? You pick the KO. How do you want to do this?
You go sub.
Okay.
I'll go. I'll let my nuts hang. Let's see. Pico by KO.
Chase Hooper by sub.
It's nasty.
I'm gonna tell you the odds in a second.
I mean, this card isn't really. He's the only guy that can find us. Like, go scroll back through this whole card and find me a sub key on the whole card.
I mean, you can say Khamzat. What's this sub?
You want to take Khamzat?
Khamzat by sub. Khamzat by sub.
Yeah, because he's not gonna pound like DDP's not gonna be.
Actually, champ. I actually looked at that for a second too when I was looking at the bottom. Karine by sub. But I don't know. We I don't know. We as a group watched that fight before, and she wasn't like the sub for Karine and Barbosa.
Her only path is a front choke. She's not getting shit off of her back.
I think it's gonna be a guillotine if she's Miller.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Boers by submission.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Andrade decision. So I'm gonna tell you guys the odds on FanDuel. Andrade decision plus 260, Pico by KO plus 430, and Chimaev by submission plus 150. The odds are plus 4,670.
Okay, so you said Andrade by KO, Andrade by decision. We said Pico by KO, and then we said Khamzat by sub plus 4,670. All right, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate it. I do like Karine. I bet on Karine.
Let's do the comments first. Glenbot's asking question for the main event about the main event. If it goes probably a split.
Oh,
yeah,
split. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I don't mind that. Like, if it go to distance, I think it's gonna be 3-2 either side. I lean Chimaev in a decision, but I do think DDP is gonna have a chance to win a decision. So yeah, if you like end split, let me just see on Bet Online. I have in my faith. Fight end by split is 500. It's not good though on Bet Online. It's 250, 300 to go to distance. So I need better than that.
Yeah. But yeah,
could be sneaky.
All right, guys, that's the show. Like, comment, and subscribe. We get to 800 subscribers. I'll do a giveaway, and then I have a really good giveaway for 1,000 subscribers. I already have it planned. So, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week for Shanghai.
We have the
next week Shanghai, right? And it's Walker is the main event. Oh no,
we'll have Lou Betcha on for our guest for that card, and drop in chat and comments, live chat and comments of who y'all want to see us on with. We have some cool ideas, even of bringing one of y'all on once we touch 1,000 subscribers. So it'd be real cool to get some more guest appearances and some new faces up with us.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Dana Contender Series, we're gonna be back next week.
UFC is this week, right?
It's next Friday.
Oh boy, here.
Bruno Brazil headlines the Road to UFC card.
The card for Road to UFC next week is insane.
Right, Tsura bailed out. I saw that too.
He was gonna sub old buddy too.
Yeah,
my guy Nakamura. Like, I mean, there's gonna be such a good matchup for this next Road to UFC card. But yeah, see you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Good luck this weekend. Let's cash. Peace.
Good luck, everybody. Let's get it.